Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto banished and harem with 2 kunoichi? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the violent werewolf Dark Prince for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Naruto Uzumaki? The door burst open and in comes a 13-year-old Naruto Uzumaki, wearing his orange outfit, jacket open and a sucker in his mouth. Yeah, I'm here. Naruto, where have you been? Please, Iruka-sensei, I'm really not in the mood now. Before he could say anything else, Iruka had him by the ear. You're not in the mood? And what's with the wannabe jock look? Ow. You stay after class. Now go to your seat. The class by now was laughing, save for several distinct people. 1. Sasuke Uchiha sat staring intently at the blonde with his hands folded beneath his chin. 2. Shikamaru Naga stared out the window at clouds slowly moving in the sky. Shino Abirame sat, apparently asleep. He took his seat, next to the raven-haired Uchiha. Where were you? The boy asked without even looking at the blonde. Someone broke into my apartment while I was sleeping. I had to give a report of the perp. Who was it? Still don't know. He was cut short as a piece of chalk was skillfully shot into the center of his forehead. No talking in class. Sasuke Uchiha, you stay after as well. Students laugh again. Naruto rubbed his forehead and growled. I'm glad this is the last day we have in this academy. For me, yeah, for you, not so sure. What's that supposed to mean? Sasuke smirked but said nothing more. It was obvious that Sasuke knew something Naruto didn't. A little later the class was dismissed and everyone left except for Naruto, Sasuke, and Shikamaru. Sasuke-kun, that baka is sorry he got you in trouble. If you want me to thrash him, I can. A young Sakura Haruno stated as she began to walk away. Sasuke just ignored her and waited for Iruka to address them. Shikamaru, you can go now, but I want a parent-teacher conference tomorrow. Ah man, what a drag. He slumps away with his hands in his pocket. Iruka turns to the last two. How many times do I have to tell you two to stop talking in class? I'd be surprised if either one of you actually passed the Genin test tomorrow. Genin test? Naruto yelled out. He turned to Sasuke, who had his eyes closed but held a smirk on his face. You knew? He just nodded. I thought you would have figured out by now. Naruto cursed Sasuke and shrunk into nothingness. I am so screwed. Well, despite everything, you've both shown very impressive skills and are actually tied for ranking number 1 in class. If you could just stay focused, you could both be Chunin before you know it. There's one problem, Iruka-sensei. He has the brain of a fruit fly, Sasuke said, and he has the attention span of a dung beetle. Naruto finished. Iruka sighed and dismissed the two. He smiled as they walked away. He knew what Naruto was going through, and he knew what Sasuke had went through. The fact that they found friends in each other was a miracle of itself, but at how close their bond was, it was all unbelievable. He looked down at the roster of students to see that Naruto and Sasuke were really ranked number 1, and chuckled at who he saw was number 2. Shikamaru Naga? Wow, the laziest students are my best students. What a world. Naruto and Sasuke walked out towards the main part of the village. You could have at least hinted it or something. Come on. You heard what Iruka-sensei said. Me and you are number 1 in class, so we should have no problem with tomorrow's test. He mumbled at Sasuke's calm words. That didn't help the fact that he knew nothing about a Genin test. What do you think they're gonna have us do? Naruto asked, still mad. Sasuke just shrugged. We'll find out when the time comes. See you later. He watched as Sasuke turned off and walked towards the abandoned Uchiha complex. He looked away, feeling sorry for his raven-haired comrade. He sighed and began walking home. Having been deep in thoughts, he didn't see the completely visible leg sticking out in front of him. He tripped and fell flat on his face. He looked up but no one seemed to notice. However, he knew they had seen what happened, they just didn't care. Some people were still looking and laughing at him. He stood and began to dust the dirt off of him until someone came and knocked him down from behind. This time he scraped an elbow. He turned over, looking around again. People were now visibly laughing. He stood up and began to run. Not long after, he was on the ground for a third time. Someone had thrown a rather large rock and had hit him right in the stomach. He clutched his gut and curled into a ball as laughs echoed over him. Look at the demon, what a wuss! It was just a rock, cursed monster. He held back tears at the names. Demon and monster. They always called him that, and he never understood why. They all treated him like crap. The only ones who didn't were the select few friends he had at the academy, Irika, and the third Hokage himself. He stood again and moved just in time as another rock flew at him. He was running again. He had to run. It was either run or be beaten. He was drawing closer to his apartment, the place that was supposed to be his safe haven. But there was a huge problem. He slowed to an unsteady walk, looking up at his apartment, mouth wide open. The building, no, just one room, was burning, sending clouds of black smoke bellowing into the orange sky overhead. The flames danced, at the song of the many people who stood around smiling and laughing. A tear rolled down Naruto's cheek, not at the fact that all his possessions were now gone, but because of the fact that a life had been taken in the manner. The third Hokage had graciously given Naruto a companion. A small puppy, only 2 weeks ago. He had taken care of the puppy to the best of his ability, with the help of Sasuke and Kiba, who had a puppy of his own. He dropped to his knees, the warmth of the flames dehydrating him, even from the distance. His tears were dripping onto the ground in front of him. He dug his nails into the ground so hard that his fingers began to bleed. No one even noticed him, they all were drawn to the flames. They didn't notice when his hair began to flutter slightly, or when the marks on his cheek began to darken. His eyes fluctuated between sapphire, violet, red, violet, and sapphire again. Then it all stopped when someone stepped next to him. Water wall jutsu was all Naruto heard before the heat began to disappear from the air. He looked up at the person who had come to extinguish the flames. He had silver hair, and from Naruto's position, one eye was covered by the leaf's headband. "Don't worry, I got him out." The man spoke, under what appeared to be a mask. He was confused at the man's words until he saw next to the man the puppy he had been taking care of. It was hurt and lying on its side, but Naruto could see that it was still breathing. Naruto looked up to where the flames had been. Instead, a steady wall of water now engulfed the apartment. He had just noticed the cheers stop and the many glares aimed at the man standing over him, but more at himself. He shrunk a little, the stares of those around finally settling into him like hundreds of kunai. The wall of water began to shrink until it was gone, and now only small lines of smoke rose into the air. The man looked down on Naruto with his one visible eye. He just stared, looking into Naruto's tear-filled eyes. He blinked and looked away. The crowd in front of the apartment began to disperse. Seconds later, Irika shows up in a whirl of leaves. "Naruto, what happened? Are you okay?" "He's fine." Irika noticed the person standing next to Naruto and gave him thanks. "Thank you, Kakashi. We're really grateful for this. This means a lot." Yeah? I'm going to report this to the Hokage. You should really take that dog to the hospital." The man was gone in seconds. Irika sighed and picked Naruto and the puppy up. Why would someone go this far? He thought as he leaped away to the hospital. "Thank you, Irika-sensei." Naruto whispered, tears still on his face. "No. I'm sorry, Naruto. It's not your fault. Besides, they only do it because they hate me." "No big deal." "No big deal?" Irika thought very little of it, but in honesty it bugged him that Naruto would dismiss the situation like that. What was worse was that Naruto didn't dismiss the situation since it never arose. All he cared about was the puppy. The sun hung low in the sky, only visible as a half ball of light on top of rooftops. It wouldn't be long before the moon took its place opposite the sky. Naruto and Irika sat at a ramen stand that was called a chirakus. He looked down into his bowl at the brown broth and lean noodles. All he thought of was the puppy. Irika saw and stopped eating himself. "Naruto, the puppy is gonna be okay. It just has to rest a few days is all." "Hiro. HM? His name is Hiro." Irika saw tears forming in the blonde's eyes again. "Well, Naruto, I know you're worried about Hiro, but he's in good hands right now. You don't want him to die, do you? He has to be treated by professionals to get well. Isn't that what you want? Don't worry. In 2 days, we'll go get the little guy, alright? Promise? Promise, believe it." His smile faded when he saw the blank stare on Naruto's face. "What's wrong?" "Irika-sensei, that believe it thing was so corny." "Corny? You wait, I'll have you using it all the time, believe it." Naruto covered his ears with a face full of false fear. "And oh. Then everyone will hate me for using such a corny catchphrase." Irika laughs at the blonde as he shakes his head left and right. The owner came from the back and saw the two. "Still not done, Irika?" "No." "Will you be closing up shop soon, Tucci?" No, take as long as you need." You too, Naruto. Naruto didn't hear him as he continued shaking his head from left to right, refusing to hear that catchphrase again. You know, we really should be going. Naruto has a big test to take tomorrow. He's taking the genin test? That's right. Perfect. So is I am. Hopefully he could service the village and clear his name, Tucci says before turning around. Without admitting it, Iruka wishes the same thing. Naruto finally uncovers his ears as he sees Iruka standing. Time to go already? Yeah. You need to get some sleep before the test tomorrow. Oh yeah, the test. He stands to follow Iruka. One that wallowed in innocence was engulfed in the pity of sin. It wasn't enough, Iruka knew. There had to be something much more he could do for Naruto besides letting him stay with him for a few days. The bitterness that Naruto hid was surfacing on Iruka, feeling hatred towards the ones who had done horrible things to Naruto. He sighed as they reached his house. Naruto was looking down with his hands in his pockets while Iruka unlocked the door. Iruka-sensei. Yes, Naruto? Do you think I'm a demon? Not at all. You're not a demon at all, Naruto. Believe. Okay, I get it. Iruka smiled weakly. He stepped in and closed the door. Naruto walked over to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator door, and grabbed some instant ramen. He knew where everything was since it wasn't the first time he had to stay with Iruka. From time to time, people had set stink bombs in his house or unleashed hordes of mice into the house. He was used to it, so everything around the house seemed natural. Naruto, didn't you eat at the stand? I wasn't hungry, so I didn't have to waste my money? Not really. Iruka smacked Naruto in the back of the head with a fan. You little brat, you should have said something. Naruto was squatting holding the back of his head. Oh. Iruka-sensei. He whined. Stop whining. Eat, study, and then get to bed. Naruto took the instant ramen and grumbled. He took his seat on the couch in the living room and crossed his legs. He flicked on the TV and started to eat. Iruka sighed in exasperation. He flopped onto the recliner next to Naruto and watched TV as well. About 20 minutes later, they were both wide-eyed and drooling. Yes, too much TV can do that to you. Then the show went to a commercial. Iruka blinked and then looked at Naruto, who was still drooling. Naruto? Naruto? He snapped his fingers. He continued to stare forward blankly. Then Iruka yelled at the top of his lungs. Naruto! The blonde flew across the room and slammed into the wall. Iruka-sensei, why are you torturing me today? He said as he flopped onto the floor. It's time to study. Study what? For damn it, I left the scrolls at school. He sighed, remembering someone telling him about the fire, and then rushing to get Naruto. He had forgotten to grab his scrolls and the school was locked now. Come on, Naruto, we need to ask the Hokage to let us into the school. Two don't think we should, Naruto said, looking nervously at the door. Why not? Iruka stopped. Of course Naruto didn't want to go. It was night, and that was when the villagers showed their true colors. Naruto had been hospitalized several times, all with doctor's notes, saying incidents that happened after 7 p.m. Naruto, I'll be right by your side, so nothing will happen to you. Believe it? Yeah, believe it. Iruka opens the door again. Naruto slowly and reluctantly follows close behind. Come on, this'll be faster. Iruka leapt onto one of the buildings and kept going. Naruto followed behind but was much slower. They were making great progress, not many people were out anyway. By the time they made it to the Hokage Tower stairs, only 5 minutes had passed. See, nothing happened at all. I guess, Naruto said, covering the kunai rip on the back of his pants. They walked the rest of the way up the hill. Iruka spoke to the guards and was sent up. All right, Naruto, be patient. The Hokage is a very busy man. They entered his office to find him face first in paperwork, snoring loudly. Su looks busy to me, Naruto called. Iruka's brow twitched. Lord Hokage, what are you doing? He screamed. The third woke up instantly and began whacking Iruka in the back of the head with a fan. Don't you, whack, ever wake, whack, a sleeping, whack, Hokage up. Whack, whack, whack. A few minutes later he returned to his chair and took a serious demeanor. Now then, what do you want, Iruka? I'm very busy. Are not? He called, holding the pulsing lump on his head. The third noticed Naruto and frowned. Naruto, I am truly sorry for what happened earlier today. I assure you those who are found responsible for this will pay dearly. I'm also funding for you a newly refurbished room. It doesn't matter, sir. Hiro wasn't hurt. Your puppy? The third looked questioningly at Naruto. Then he changed the subject. Iruka, what have you come for? Lord Hokage-sama, In the disruption of today's earlier events, I forgot to retrieve. Irika. No formal talk, just come out with it. Irika sighed. I left the test materials for tomorrow's genin test in the school building. I see. Fine, come along, Irika. Naruto, you stay here until we get back, alright? You don't have to tell me twice. The third and Irika leave the office. Naruto sighs as the room becomes silent. He stands on spot for a little before turning and looking at papers on the Hokage's desk. He sat down in the Hokage's chair and flipped through more papers. Before he could find anything interesting, a knock came on the door. Naruto jumped out the chair and stumbled sideways. The dude opened. Sorry to disturb you. The person entered and saw Naruto on the ground. Little Naruto. What's up, kid? Mizuki-sensei. What are you doing in here? 2M waiting for Irika-sensei and Hokage-sama to return. Oh, I see. He thought to himself for a little bit. Hey Naruto, guess what? What? You want to know a sure way to pass the genin test tomorrow? Of course. How? Mizuki looked back out the door to the Hokage's room. He pulled his head back in and faced Naruto. There's a scroll at the shrine through the western gates that holds techniques that are Chunin level. If you could get that scroll, you would definitely become genin for sure. Alright. Thanks, Mizuki-sensei. Naruto darted from the building, forgetting all about the night and the villagers. He darted towards the western exit, bumping into people and knocking others down without even glancing back. Then, just feet away from the western exit, Naruto slams head to head with another blonde. Oh he! The other calls. Naruto reels from the blow but sees the person in front of him reaching out towards him. He flinches as the hand touches his head. Are you okay? The person asks. Naruto now realizes the person is a girl. I'm fine. I'm okay. My mom says I have a hard head. She says, smiling slightly. By the way, I'm Ino Yamanaka. You're Naruto, right? Uh-huh. We have class together. That's right. You're always hanging with Sasuke. That's me. He stood and helped her up. Where are you going in such a rush? She asked, picking up the flowers that Naruto just noticed. I'm going to get a scroll. Isn't the scroll shop closed? It's a special scroll. Oh, okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, okay? I have to get home and study also. See ya. Before the girl walked away, she handed him a flower. What's this for? We're friends, right? That's a friendship flower, thanks. The girl blushed and walked away. Friends? She doesn't think I am a demon? Naruto smiled and continued on to the shrine. Outside the village, Naruto began leaping from tree to tree, towards the shrine. Is that it? He thought as he landed in front of a shrine of a golden 8-armed man holding up a scroll wrapped in a green and gold rope. Without a second thought he ran up to it and took it. Before he could take another step the shrine began to glow. The statue stood up and looked down on Naruto. Oh crap. The statue rose an arm and swung it down at Naruto. He was fast enough to dodge the arm, but didn't see the second, third, or fourth arm coming. They slammed into Naruto and sent him sliding over the ground. He jumped up to see the statue walking slowly towards him. He jumped back and threw kunai, but they all bounced off the metal beast. Naruto was now panicking. He took out his only smoke grenade and burst it in front of him. The statue stopped. When the smoke cleared, Naruto was gone. He was in a tree, panting heavily. For some reason, he couldn't get more than 200 feet away from the statue. He thought it was a curse, but remembered Irika teaching about chakra barriers. He had to defeat the statue in order to leave. I know! Naruto removed the scroll from his back and opened it. He read the first jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu? It says Jonin rank. I thought he said it was for Chunin. Ah well, looks simple enough. He began to form hand signs, and when he felt his chakra build up, he stopped. Okay, that's easy. What's next? He looked at the scroll once more. The next one read Kiki-I Genkai, Chakra IAK Deltagon. Note: this jutsu uses a substantial amount of chakra and puts the user's vision in extreme strenuous exercise. Focus all chakra into the pupil of the eye and then focus on spinning it. He knew why it was hard. Focusing all chakra in his body into his two eyes would not only be enough to blind him, but leave him exposed to attacks that can only be stopped by chakra. Not only that, but while using the Kiki-I Genkai, he wouldn't be able to use any other jutsus at all. If I only use it for a short period of time, I should be fine. Before he could look down to the third jutsu, the statue had delivered a powerful punch to the tree he was in. It shook and cracked at the base. He grabbed the scroll and leaped from the tree. He rolled the scroll while he was in the air. Alright, you overgrown ornament, let's get this over with. He landed on the ground and rushed at the statue right away. He began doing hand signs. Shadow clone jutsu. 2 Narutos appeared next to the real one on both sides. As the statue swung 2 of its fists at one Naruto, the second had used its distraction to jump into the air. The third slid under the statue and kicked it in the back. The one in the air slammed its heel on top of the statue's head. The real Naruto stood back, seeing that the attacks had no effect. The statue spun around, hitting both clones and making them vanish in a puff of smoke. As soon as the clones were gone, Naruto understood what they did. The statue was hollow, but the force that kept it from breaking was chakra. Only one more thing to do. Deltagon. Naruto instantly felt himself losing power in his arms and legs. He had to increase his strength to keep from falling over. His vision, however, became much clearer. Then as he focused on the statue, he could see blue lines flowing all throughout the beast. It looked like a picture that Iruka had shown Naruto, except with 8 arms instead of 2. It also looked like the statue wasn't moving at all. He noticed that the center of the beast, where the chakra was formed, was dim. Its arms and legs held the most chakra. Abruptly, his vision returned to normal. He staggered and vomited, his eyes seeming to be burning. He regained his stature as he heard the statue coming at him again. He jumped back while rubbing his eyes and thinking of what to do. Then it hit him. Shadow clone jutsu. Both Narutos ran towards the statue. Then the clone grabbed Naruto's arm and slung him forward. The move was so fast that the statue didn't have time to block. Naruto slammed his foot right into the statue's center, releasing an unintentional burst of chakra as he did. At first, nothing happened. Seconds later, the statue began to crack where Naruto had made contact. The crack spread and then the statue exploded. He flopped to the ground panting. His eyes still burned slightly, so that saw Kiki Genkai. I wonder if anyone else knows about that technique. He sat for a little longer, unaware of the approaching person. Good work, Naruto. I didn't get to see the fight, but I know you were just amazing. Naruto turned and looked up at the person speaking to him. Mizuki-sensei, I found the scroll. Why didn't you tell me that statue would attack? It was for training purposes. Now, give me the scroll, Naruto. Huh? But, give it now! Naruto was startled by Mizuki's outburst. He didn't move, unable to comprehend Mizuki's harsh yell. No, Naruto! Another voice rang out. He turned to his left to see Iruka landing in the clearing. Iruka, stay out of this. Mizuki, what are you doing, having Naruto get the forbidden scroll? Forbidden? He told me it was a Chunin scroll. Chunin? No, Naruto, that scroll contains information that if in the wrong hands could put this entire village in grave danger. But why Mizuki? Oh, shut up, Iruka. You're too kind-hearted for your own good. Or are you? You've been lying to the brat since he was born. Naruto turned to Iruka. Lying to me? About what, Naruto? Go on. Tell him. Tell him about how the 4th Hokage sealed the 9-tailed demon inside of him. Naruto's eyes dilated for a moment. He was wondering why when he used the Deltagon, the bottom of his eye seemed to flicker with red chakra. The 9-tailed in me? That's right, kid. Why did you think everyone hated you? Because you are the vessel of the monster that destroyed this village and killed the greatest ninja the world had seen. Well, under Lord Orok. Stop it now, Mizuki. You've already gone too far. Enough. He pulled a large shuriken from behind his back. Give me the scroll and die. He shouted, throwing the shuriken at Naruto. Naruto was still shocked, and the shuriken was hurtling right at him. Naruto! Iruka yelled. The clearing grew silent. Naruto stared wide-eyed up at the sky. Something was partially blocking his view. Iruka-sensei. Iruka was halfway over Naruto, the shuriken sticking out of his back. Why, Naruto, everything he said is true. But don't begrudge the 4th. He was doing what was needed to protect the village, just like I'm doing what is needed to protect you. Not everyone hates you, Naruto, and although Mizuki has spoken the truth, scum like him only make us good guys look bad. He said, chuckling. Iruka-sensei. Then Iruka rolled to the ground. Mizuki chuckled from up in the tree. Well, 1 down, 1 to go. No one can protect you now. Naruto was standing on his feet. His face was tilted down so Mizuki couldn't see his face. No. No one can protect me now. But I don't need protection to beat scum like you. From this day on, I swear, as a shinobi. He looked straight at Mizuki with tears on his face, and rage in his eyes. I will never let anyone save me from my own battles. A shinobi's promise. Believe it, you're right, all talk kid. Mizuki threw the last giant shuriken at Naruto. Naruto jumped right up towards the shuriken while doing hand signs. Shadow clone jutsu, 2 Narutos appeared again. One was in front of him, the other above him. The first one tried to stop the shuriken, and succeeded as it slammed into his midsection. It disappeared in a puff of smoke. Mizuki was startled by the action. The last Naruto let the real one grab his leg and slung him towards Mizuki. Naruto slammed a fist into Mizuki's face, sending him flying into another tree, and before he could hit the ground, the last Naruto clone had delivered a kick to his back, sending him into the air. This is it! Shadow clone jutsu, 5 Narutos appeared in the air above Mizuki. All at once, they slammed their legs down on Mizuki, sending him crashing back down to the earth. Now only one Naruto stood, right over Mizuki. Scum like you deserve to die, Naruto said, drawing a kunai. He rose it, and before he could sling his arm down, Iruka caught it. No, Naruto, was all he said. Naruto glared at his mentor, but lowered his arm. Being a ninja, you will have to kill Naruto, but don't do it unnecessarily, that only leads to trouble. Alright, Iruka-sensei. Iruka smiled at Naruto. How much you've grown, and only in one short night. I see a bright future for you, Naruto Uzumaki. Maybe even a future as Konoha's Hokage, who would have thought? Naruto turns over in bed. The 9-tailed fox season me? That's right, kid. Why did you think everyone hated you? Because you are the vessel of the monster that destroyed this village and killed the greatest ninja the world had seen. He sat up and looked out the window. The sun was just rising, making a frame out of the window. The portrait made Naruto feel calm, even knowing about the monster that occupied him. He stood out of bed and walked into the main part of Iruka's house. He glanced down at the many scrolls that he had been studying the night before. Iruka had told him he didn't have to, but he insisted. I shouldn't have made a careless mistake like that. I'll never try to take the easy way out of anything ever again. He sat down at the table after fixing some instant ramen. Iruka walked in minutes later. Naruto, you're up early. What's wrong? About yesterday, why didn't you tell me? Iruka frowned and sat down across from Naruto. Naruto, it's under decree that you never find out about the demon. It was issued by the fourth himself, before he died. He did it to protect you. In truth, he thought that you would be revered as a hero. The one who holds the 9-tailed beast at bay. Hell of a good that did. Hey. I know you're upset, but you have to understand, we didn't know what would happen if we told you. I know now, don't I? What difference has it made? Iruka could think of nothing. A difference? Not really. But the fact that they had been lying to Naruto seemed to affect him a lot worse. Iruka could only stare at his pupil, feeling sympathy and regret. He stood and sighed. Iruka-sensei, don't worry about it. I have more important things to worry about anyway. Naruto stood and left the house. Iruka just stared at the door. He had a feeling that it wasn't the end of their conversation. The third stood at the window to his office, looking over the new day and aspiring gleams of Konoha. The soothing jingle of wind chimes outside the window adds to his internal mental bliss, and he closes his eyes, feeling the calming eastern winds blowing over him. Even the intrusion from behind seems to not disturb him, as he removes the pipe from his mouth and smiles gently. Kakashi, what have you come here for? The masked nin sat carelessly in the window on the other side of the office. Lord Hokage-sama, we've been able to apprehend the ones who have set fire to the Uzumaki residence. Fine, have you brought them? Yes, sir. But before I bring them, they say they were under orders from someone else. Do you know who this someone is? No, sir. The third finally turned his gaze from the window and faced Kakashi. He gave Kakashi a look that made him sweat. Are you sure you don't know? Have you tried everything you could to find out? Kakashi remained silent. I know how you feel about Naruto, Kakashi, and I respect you for doing this much for him. But as a leaf ninja, it is your duty to uphold the peace as well. Finding this criminal is your mission at this moment. But sir, the genin teams are going to be chosen today. I have to be present to receive my team roster. You are correct. Alright, I'll assign this to someone else. Send in those you have apprehended. Yes, sir. Kakashi turned to leave. And Kakashi? Demon or not, he is still human, and he is still a child. Kakashi didn't turn around. He stood, as if absorbing what the Hokage had just said. Then he continued on, leaving the room. The Hokage waited just a little before the criminals were sent into his office. This time was different, however. The Hokage had lost his respect because of a certain person he didn't expect to see in the room. Ishi Haruno. Being part of a beautiful scene has its advantages, if you actually pay attention. However, the blonde shinobi could care less about the beautiful day as he made his way through Konoha. He walked with his hands in his pockets and looking down at the ground. Nothing was on his mind, however. It was hard to think when you knew that thousands of people were staring at you, but not seeing you. They didn't see a 13-year-old kid that was all alone. They saw a demon fox, capable of destroying villages with the wave of a tail. All this time he had been so carefree, ignoring what people did or thought about him. He thought that he was doing something that made all these people hate him. He stopped when he heard two women talking across the road. Hey, look at the little monster. How pitiful. Ugh, why doesn't the Hokage just do us all a favor and get rid of him already? All he's doing is taking up space. The Hokage doesn't want to get his hands dirty. Naruto growled as tears began to form in his eyes. He couldn't help but care anymore. It wasn't his fault, but no one cared. He didn't ask to hold the monster. If someone would have asked him, the answer would have been hell no. But no one asked? He wasn't even old enough to remember. They had cursed him, and then lied about it. He resisted the urge to draw a kunai and began to run. He didn't know where he was going and he didn't care. He just wanted to clear his mind. Where he ended up was not a coincidence. It was where he was going in the first place. He walked towards the holding pin of the animal shelter and looked around at the many animals running around. He spotted his little brown and black puppy, a baby shepherd retriever. It was sleeping amidst all the playing. He smiled and wanted to grab him, but he couldn't just yet. He would let it rest and come back for it tomorrow. He knew it was perfectly fine, and it made him forget all about what had happened the night before. So he's okay? Naruto turned on Spot, startled. Iruka walked over to Naruto and leaned on the fence. Neither said anything. They just stood side by side, looking at the animals. He's strong, you know? Iruka said, breaking the silence. Naruto just continued watching the animals play. Iruka looked at Hiro. That little guy didn't do anything to anybody, yet he was hurt. But he's not giving up. He's resting so he can come out and play just like the rest of those animals. But the difference is he'll have more strength than the rest. So? He could be playing right now, just like the rest of the animals. Yeah, but then he wouldn't get better. When he's healed, then he'll play, and he'll be well rested, so he could play for as long as he wants. What if he doesn't want to play? What if he wants something else? Iruka frowned, but smiled when he caught Naruto's glance. See, he's strong because he could care less about the others. He knows what he has to do. He doesn't even care about the ones who hurt him, so he doesn't have a need for the something else. No need for revenge. All he wants is to be able to play again, and he's going to use this to make himself stronger. You know, it's funny, he reminds me of someone. Who? You. Somewhere, deep inside the orange-clad ninja, two flames ignited. A dark flame, bellowing with the heat of hatred and iniquity. Across from this flame, another stood, as white as snow. It swayed with the coolness of redemption and hope. At that moment, the white flame burned brighter than ever, making the dark flame barely visible. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. I needed to hear that. Good. Now you have time to focus on the genin test. Naruto's face flushed of its color. He turned to Iruka with the stare of a zombie. I completely forgot. Don't worry, we have 5 minutes to get to school, and it's about 200 feet from here. Naruto looked towards the left to see the school. Oh, come on! That wasn't there before. You should pay more attention. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. This is a genjutsu, isn't it? No, now come on. He smiles and begins to follow Iruka. Before they get to the school, he glances back at the animal shelter. He's strong and so am I. Inside classroom. Ichi no make? Here. Tomoya Denteshi? Here. Naruto Uzumaki? Here. Everyone in the room grows silent. Then they begin murmuring. Naruto catches on to what some are saying. Holy crap, is it the end of the world? I don't know, but he's never on time. He just smirks and closes his eyes. What are you so happy about? The raven-haired ninja asks, having the same carefree look. It's nothing. I'm just going to pick up Hiro tomorrow. Oh. You don't seem worried about this test. What's up with that? You don't seem worried either. The conversation was interrupted as the door burst open and a cluster of pink and purple could be seen struggling at the doorway. There they go again. Naruto heard Shikamura call with a sigh. In the door, Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka tried to force their way in, cheek to cheek. I want to sit next to Sasuke-kun. I don't care. Pig! Forehead! Simultaneously, 2 pieces of chalk hit them both in the forehead. They stopped bickering. You're both late. Hurry up and take a seat, Iruka calls in annoyance. The 2 kunoichi silently walk into the class. Sakura, with a little more brisk, trots right over to Sasuke's side. Naruto could tell that he was already annoyed. Hey Sasuke-kun. The only reply from the raven-haired nin was an annoyed grunt. Ino watched, and when she saw the occupant next to Sasuke, smiled. All the time, Naruto had been waving to her. Just as briskly as Sakura had, Ino made her way to Naruto's side. Hey, how'd finding that scroll go? Let's just say I had a hands-on experience. She chuckles, and calls here when Iruka calls her name. Iruka said nothing about their talking, hiding a smirk from watching the 2. On the other hand, Sakura was continuously bombarding Sasuke with talks of going on dates and hanging out after class. Sasuke-kun, why do you hang out with an idiot like that anyway? Who you? I try not to hang out with you but you just won't go away. She ignored it and took it as a joke. Oh, you're so funny Sasuke-kun, what a loser. Naruto couldn't help but feel jealously toward the Uchiha. Sasuke didn't even like the pink-haired kunoichi, yet she went head over heels for the guy. No, she wasn't just tripping for him, she was paining for him. It was such lust, that it could be known as sinful. As far as he could tell, even Ino didn't hold his comrade in such high regards. If anything, the extent may have only been a strong crush, or sense of false affection. It made him wonder if he would ever be seen in her eyes like Sasuke. Naruto, do you still have that flower I gave you yesterday? Yeah, I put it in a vase. Thanks, no problem, she said blushing. Sakura leaned forward to look at the 2 blondes. Does this finally mean you'll give up this futile attempt at getting Sasuke-kun? Ino blushes and shoots hateful glares her way. He's just a friend. I'll have Sasuke-kun yet, she called back. Naruto had ignored the outburst altogether, and prepared himself for the back and forth assaults of pig and forehead. Sasuke was now looking at Naruto sneakily. So you and her? No! It's just. No, I get it. You like blondes like yourself. Oh, come on! You know I've got a crush on Sakura-chan. Why, I'll never know. What about you? Both of these gals got it hot for you and you won't even consider either one of them. Neither one of them has any sense, let alone a good reason for liking me in the first place. Neither kunoichi heard Sasuke and Naruto's conversation, having already started their pointless name-calling, only to be hit in the head with more chalk. Settle down, all of you. You all know why you're here. This is your final day in the academy, and the final day you are all just citizens. Today you will be recognized as Leaf Shinobi, kunoichi. You will be the protectors, the holders of life, in the Hidden Leaf Village. After this last hour, you will no longer be children. You will all be ninja. He cleared his throat. Now, the genin test consists of 3 short exercises. The first being knowledge, the second being chakra manifestation, and the last being execution. All should be fairly simple, and it is all you need to graduate. However, if you mess up even one time, you fail and will have to spend an entire year in the academy again. He walked behind his desk and pulled out a small vial with a clear liquid in it. Who can tell me what this is? Several people in the class raised their hands, but when Iruka saw that Naruto, Sasuke, and Shikamaru remained motionless, continued. Anyone? He said with a little hint of anger. Naruto knew what he had been doing from the very beginning and slowly rose his hand. When Sakura saw, she chuckled. Don't even waste your time. Naruto, you know? Iruka called. It's silicon mercury, a poison that starts by numbing a person's arms and then spreading until the entire body is numbed. In large doses, such as 10 mgs, it can actually either stop a person's brain functions or kill them. Everyone in the room gasped, but none so more than Sakura herself. Sasuke just smirked, his arms still crossed in front of him. How do those words taste? He said to Sakura, letting out a small chuckle. She stared at Naruto, mouth gaped. She slowly retracted her hand, which had still been in the air. She was expecting him to answer incorrectly, and wanted to be the first to answer. Oddly enough, even she didn't know the last part about the poison being strong enough to kill in large doses, and this fact added to her personal humiliation. Correct, Naruto. Now, can you tell me anything else about this poison? Naruto glared at Iruka, as if asking why is he torturing him, but the other side of Naruto really wanted to answer. Besides, he spent all night studying, might as well put it to good use. Sometimes ninja on the field use the poison to fake a quick death in motion, or to lessen the pain in medical procedures that must be done while still on a mission if a skilled medical need is not present. In situations of interrogation, the poison is sometimes used to erase the memory of the victim. However, the main use for silicon mercury is infiltration assassination, since silicon mercury is the only poison that has a copied periodic element number. And what is this number, Naruto? Silicon mercury cannot be traced, identified, or reproduced under any means beside injection. The reason being that silicon mercury has a periodic number of H2O, water. By now everyone in the class had been looking at Naruto, including Sasuke. Even random teachers that had been walking by stopped and looked in at the blonde. He looked around sheepishly, retreating into himself slightly. The truth was, the only person in the class besides Naruto that knew the answer was Shikamaru Nara. And with that, Naruto Uzumaki, you passed the intelligence test. Now the gazes darted from Naruto to Irika. Some didn't believe their ears, and somewhere in the back someone began to cry in frustration. Naruto just let out a relieved sigh, feeling the crushing weight of tension lift off of him. The teachers in the doorway all continued on their way, mumbling beneath their breaths. Lucky bastard, he must have notes hidden somewhere. No, he's not smart enough to take notes. He's got to be cheating. Irika shut the door, having overheard a few insults. The frown on his face went unnoticed by everyone except Naruto, as he walked back to the front of the class to continue with the test. After half an hour, only 5% of the class had failed the intelligence test. Alright, now for your second test. I am proud of all of you. Now I don't wish to let any more of you go, so don't let me down. This test will be chakra manifestation. In battle, if you cannot control your chakra, even to a subtle extent, you will be annihilated. So far I've taught you 3 ways of chakra manifestation, but you are only required to demonstrate one to pass. We will continue in the order that we started, so Naruto Uzumaki, you are first. Naruto stood and began to walk towards the front of the class. Irika pulled out a scroll, unraveled it on the floor, and did some hand signs. He slammed his palm down onto it, releasing a large puff of smoke. When it cleared, a large scale appeared. One side was empty, but the other side held a large stone block. This block weighs exactly 350 pounds. It's 150 pounds larger than the block we used when I trained you. In this exercise, you will need to manifest enough chakra to balance the scale. If the block goes too high, it will shatter and you will fail. If you don't manifest enough chakra, you won't be able to move the block at all. The second catch is, you must balance the scale in 15 seconds or you fail. If you pass this part, then you must keep the scale balanced for exactly 20 seconds. If you complete this, you pass the chakra manifestation test. Naruto gets into position for the test. He stands on the scale that is lifted up as far as it can go. He looks over his class. Sasuke and Ino seem to be the only two smiling, as Sakura refuses to look at the scene and Shikamaru has fallen asleep. He sighs and puts his hands together. Irika starts a timer. Everyone's attention is caught as blue chakra swirls around Naruto, making it the first time that anyone has seen visible chakra coming from anyone under Chunin rank. However, it wasn't good, as Naruto felt the scale drop much faster than he intended, so right away he had to slow down his chakra flow. The scale slowly lifts back up. He takes a deep breath again and releases chakra with more concentration. The scale inches down. 5 seconds left. Naruto silently gulps and begins to release just a bit more chakra. When Irika calls time, Naruto holds his position. 20 seconds left. Hold it, Naruto. Naruto is relieved to hear that he has balanced the scale, because the entire time he had his eyes closed. Now he was keeping a steady flow of chakra, and had to do it for 20 seconds. He felt himself sweating, and could hear the swirl of chakra over his outfit. His muscles began to ache, and the effect on his body began to feel like that when he used the Deltagon. 321 good. As soon as Irika calls the end, Naruto lets his chakra stop, making the scale return to its normal stance. However, Naruto's release was so sudden, he was propelled off of the scale from the momentum, and slammed lip to lip with Sasuke. Not soon after, the class burst with laughs from males and blushes from every girl. The closest of these girls, being Sakura, began to half faint, half scold the blonde. Nanaru, you baka. What the hell, Yukiki? Sasuke had slumped down, hoping no one was looking at them. Ino had turned from the two, having turned as pink as Sakura's hair. Shikamaru continued to sleep and lazily mumbled, "Troublesome homos." Near the back of the class, a silent Hyuga princess couldn't help but utter her first words said in the class all year. "Oh my," was all she could say before her mouth cemented itself shut from embarrassment. Naruto and Sasuke didn't even look at one another as the crowd continued to laugh. "I knew there was a reason they hung out all the time," a boy said. "Ah man, all the hot guys are homos," a girl stated. Sasuke slowly turned to Naruto with flames in his eyes. "You team, I'll kill you!" However, the killing intent Sasuke had acquired was dwarfed by the killing intent of Irika, who skillfully shot dozens of pieces of chalk and hit everyone in the forehead simultaneously. "All of you shut the hell up!" The class instantly calmed down, some people cowering under the ferocity of their sensei. "If any of you want to pass, I'd advise you to pay attention." The four sitting side by side said nothing. Sasuke, staring straight forward with wide eyes and arms crossed tightly. Sakura looked like she was in a state of shock and slowly rocked back and forth, hugging herself. Ino twirled around on her notebook, still pink, not looking at anyone. Naruto was vigorously scrubbing his mouth with a toothbrush. After the little incident, the test finally continued. Surprisingly, only 2 people failed the second test. But there was one person who stood out to Naruto. It was the Hyuga princess. He had never paid her much attention, but when she received the 3rd fastest time for balancing the block, he couldn't help but think about her, even if just for a bit. Irika concluded the second part of the test. "This is it. The final test. If you pass this, you will all be officially genin. As you know, this last test is execution. The jutsu that you all will be executing is the clone jutsu, followed by sustaining a transformation jutsu." Students began to murmur. Ino, having lost slight interest in Naruto and Sasuke's, nudged Naruto. "No way. How does he expect us to do both at one time? It's not that hard." Yeah, coming from someone who transformed into a disfigured Hokage and produced a crippled clone. He brushed off her insult and walked forward, knowing that he was the first anyway. Once up front, Irika whispered to him, "I know you can do this, Naruto. This should be a piece of cake for you." Naruto nodded. And just as Irika said, Naruto made one clone appear next to him, and then almost instantaneously, they both transformed into the 3rd Hokage. Irika was even more impressed when both produced 2 more, already transformed, 3rd Hokage clones. The class actually began to clap. "Very impressive, Naruto. Marvelous. Take your seat." Ino was the first to say something. "Wow, how did you get enough chakra to do that? Remember that scroll I told you about? Do you think you could let me borrow it sometime?" He chuckled but didn't answer. He turned to Sasuke, who held a disturbed look on his face, and just kept staring forward. Sakura was still in shock. In the end, 6 people failed the final part of the test. Irika stood smiling, looking over his class. He was overjoyed with such success, especially coming from Naruto. But he was saddened also, knowing that this was his final day with the students. He folded his arms and sized them out once again. "I should have cherished it. Because now, I am no longer looking at ninja trainees. I am looking at certified Konoha genin. You all have made me proud. You've shown me that believing in you wasn't a waste of time. You've shown me that becoming ninja wasn't just pipe dreams for you all. You all have made me happy to be called your sensei. But that is the past now, and effective immediately, you will all be assigned to different genin teams." The short-lived cheerful air left the room and was replaced with tension. The genin placements, a team of 3 under a jounin instructor. The time where you are truly notified as a ninja. Irika wasted no time, starting with the names of genin and their instructors right away. Team 7, Jonin Hatake Kakashi. Genin Sakura Haruno. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto slightly cheered, but Sakura groaned loudly. And Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto didn't lose his eagerness, but Sakura had jumped up and squealed. Ino growled, "Unfair. How come Forehead gets to be on Sasuke-kun's team?" "Ino, calm down. The teams are made in a balanced way. Strengths and weaknesses are taken into account, but all she has is weakness." Ino mumbled. She sat down and pouted. "Too bad, Ino pig." Sakura called, sticking her tongue out at the pony-tailed blonde. The genin who received their rosters were sent to the front of the school. Naruto had happily walked next to Sasuke into the grass in front of the school. However, Sasuke still refused to speak. Naruto's thoughts were all averted towards the man that stood before him. Hey, you're that guy who saved Hiro yesterday. I'm glad you're here, because I didn't get a chance to thank you. Kakashi Hatake, the masked jonin from the day before, stood reading a book entitled Ichi Ichi Paradise. He sighed and put the book in his pouch. Well then, so this is the team they've stuck me with. I'm Kakashi Hatake. Before we begin, you should all take these. He handed them papers. At the top it read Genin test results. Hey, how did these get made? We just got done with the test. You were all being monitored by professional testing ninjas. As soon as you completed your test, the results were immediately printed. Sasuke looked at his. Test 1, 90, Test 2, 95, Test 3, 90. He grunted and glanced at Naruto. Let me see yours. He called in a low monotone that he usually only used when annoyed or pissed. Naruto showed him. Test 1, 100, Test 2, 95, Test 3, 100. As soon as he got a glimpse, he pushed the paper away. This was the moment that inside the raven-haired Uchiha, resentment and jealousy began to build. Sakura peered over Sasuke's shoulder. She began to groan when she saw that even her grades were lower than Naruto's. Test 1, 95, Test 2, 80, Test 3, 85. She turned to Kakashi. Excuse me, Kakashi-sensei, there must be some mistake. There's no way he could have scored higher than me, or especially Sasuke-kun. I believe you're right, but no need crying over it now. So, as of today I'll assign you an easy mission. The three fold their papers and put them away. All you have to do is take your ninja license pictures. Have fun. And tomorrow, we meet at Training Ground 6 at 5 a.m. 5 in the morning? Sakura groaned. That's right, he said. He took one more look at his team, studying Naruto the longest before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. When he was gone, Sasuke began to walk away. Naruto was about to follow, but Sasuke stopped him. Not today, Naruto. I want to be alone for a little bit. Oh, okay. Naruto thought the reason was because of his test scores, and would have never guessed the real reason. The young Uchiha had taken his first step in fulfilling his promise by graduating from the academy. Now he had to complete it, alone. Naruto turned back to Sakura, who ignored him and walked away. Not far away from him, Naruto saw two Jonin ninjas stop her, and then escort her away towards the Hokage's office. He hated that he had to be alone again. The pain was lessened with the thought that he actually graduated. He smiled and began to walk back to Irika's house. In the Hokage's office, all is silent, save for the shuffling of paper on the cluttered desk. The third sits, half asleep, looking over several files on his desk. He glares up for a bit, at the person sitting in the chair in front of him. Then he continues to move her through his papers. When the hell are you going to let me out of here? Excuse me. As of right now, I will hold you in this office for however long I want, and if you, a mere criminal, make another outburst, I will carry out my own punishment in this very room. You have no right to speak, Ishi Haruno, and shall remain silent until I give order, or when you are spoken to. Do I make myself clear? She looks down, trembling. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir, she says, tears beginning to fall. The third sighs and stands, having lost his focus on the paperwork. A knock came at the door. Enter, sir, Sakura Haruno. Sakura enters the room with a bewildered expression, and seeing her crying mother only adds to her confusion. Mom, what's wrong? Lord Hokage, what is this? Sakura, sit down. She does as she is told and looks at her mother, who is only looking at the ground. Sakura, are you aware of the events that took place yesterday evening? No, sir. Well, yesterday, several people thought it would be fun to destroy and burn a certain young man's home. Everything, including all of his most valuable possessions and money, were destroyed in this event. To add to this, a living animal was in the fire. Thank Kami, it wasn't hurt, however. Lord Hokage, what do you mean? The home that was destroyed belonged to Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto? I know he's annoying, but why would someone go that far? Who would do such a thing? But once Sakura finished her sentence, she knew almost exactly what had happened. Ishi, your mother, was arrested for arson and destruction of property. She was in the group that is thought to have set fire to the young man's apartment. Mom, how could you? Sakura said, standing. That demon deserves everything that's coming to him. Silence, you wretched excuse for a woman, the Hokage yelled. Sakura herself had been shaking with rage at what her mother had done. She clenched her fist, and for the first time in her life wanted to hit her mother. She hated her. She knew that Naruto wasn't the village's favorite person, but she would never have thought that people would hate him that much. It made no sense that people held low human values like that. Sakura, I called you here because of some very bad news. Until your mother has carried out her time, you will not be able to go on any missions with your genin team. Sakura rounded on the Hokage. But why? What have I done? I am sorry, Sakura, but since you are on Naruto's team, I cannot have you around him. It is only for safety reasons for you and him. Once Naruto finds out, I cannot be sure he would forgive you, or let what your mother has done go. Any other missions for you will be suspended until then. No, I've finally gotten to be on Sasuke-kun's team. She turned to her mother. This is all your fault, she screamed before running from the Hokage's office. The most joyous time of his life, for now. He just wished Hiro was there so he could enjoy the time with him. He was almost sure that he wouldn't get another chance. Just a little off the school grounds, Naruto hears someone call his name from behind. He turns to see Hinata Hyuga, the Hyuga princess, running towards him. Hey, how's it going? Hinata, right? The young girl bends over, catching her breath. She nods to answer him. He wanted to give you these as a graduation present. She stuttered. She was holding out a small box. Naruto looked at it peculiarly. What is it? He said, eyeing the wide-eye heiress. She frowned, slowly taking her hands back. Oh, hi, don't want it? Naruto could tell that he had hurt the girl, but he wasn't trying to. He hated how trust was an issue when it came down to new people. He took the present from Hinata and bowed. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I didn't mean to sound ungrateful. Noit, it's alright. The girl stuttered worse now and began to gnaw at her finger. She had begun to sweat. A hair, you alright? You don't look too good. Are you sick? Naruto took a step towards her. She began to hold her breath. He placed one hand on her head. While you're burning up. And for the first time in her life, Hinata Hyuga fainted. It had been an hour since Naruto had graduated. He had went to Ichiraku's for a celebration, even if he was alone, but found out that IM had not passed the test. Tucci was upset and didn't feel like celebrating, but IM sat with Naruto and had a few bowls of ramen. You don't seem too mad, Naruto said through a mouthful of ramen, slurping so hard, the last of the noodles smacked him in the face. Well, my dad wanted me to become a ninja, but all I wanted to do was continue working here. If I were to become a ninja, I wouldn't have a lot of time to spend with my dad. I get it. He stuffed more ramen into his mouth. Entidu heap ev wisnisoing. Chew and swallow, Naruto, she said, giggling. After a little bit, Naruto swallowed the last of the ramen and drank some water from the cup in front of him. After a satisfied he turned to IM. You wanted to keep the business going. I don't blame you. With ramen like this, you'd be rich in no time. She smiled at Naruto. It's not that I want to be rich, although I can't argue that it won't happen, but I just want to spend as much time with my dad as possible. Naruto nods. He wishes he could relate with what was said, but he didn't know who his father was. But somewhere, in the back of his mind, he felt like he knew who it was. Like the person had been close the whole time, as if he had seen the person every day. After a few more bowls of ramen, IM closed up shop and Naruto was left alone again. He sighed and began walking once again towards Irika's house. However, something was on his mind, and he couldn't shake it. Wait a minute, that's it! He quickly turned around and darted off. He ignored people around him, trying to stay focused on his destination. He rounded a corner and saw the building. A small flower shop with a green shed next to it. He walked forward and entered the store. Before he reached it, the strong fragrances of flowers began to enter his nostrils. Once inside, he began to look around. There were dozens of different flowers, different shapes, sizes, and fragrances. He saw one flower that he recognized. Under the pot that the flower was in, it read, Pink Lotus, the flower of eternal friendship. Price, 1,200 yen. He winced at the price. A flower cost that much? He winced again when he realized that Ino had gave him an expensive flower for free. She must have really thought of Naruto as a friend. But this reminded Naruto of his reason for being in the shop. He walked over to the small bell that was on the counter and rang it. Then he heard moving behind a door that read Botanical Garden. Just a minute. A male voice called out. Once Naruto heard the voice, he instantly wanted to turn and hightail it out of the shop. However, it was too late. The door had opened and a blond man came into the shop. Once he saw Naruto, he smiled slightly. Hey kiddo, what did you need? Naruto swallowed hard before speaking. Isis Ino here? The man continued to smile. No, she's with her teammates celebrating. They're at Suko restaurant. Hanks, what's the matter? Naruto didn't answer. He turned to walk away. However, the man called out again. I'm her father, you know, he said. Naruto bitterly turned around to face the man. I could tell, he said, looking down. The name's Inoichi Yamanaka. Nice to meet you, Naruto. What do you mean, nice to meet me? Just like I said, nice to meet you. My daughter came home yesterday saying that she's finally gotten a chance to talk to you and told me that you were different from what everybody said. You believed her? No. I knew. I know what happened when you were born, and I know you know. Me and you never got a chance to meet, so I kind of guessed that you felt that everyone hated you. If I would have met you when you were younger, I hope you wouldn't have felt that way, because I have not held any resentment towards you whatsoever. Why are you telling me all this? Inoichi smiled and walked around the counter. Anyone who can make friends with Ino in one try has got to be something special. I've learned to face it. Ino is one thick-headed girl, and it's no secret. If you even vaguely interested her, there must have been something about you that was above normal. Yeah, having a 500-foot fox demon inside me doesn't count as above normal. Inoichi smirked slightly, not being able to comprehend why Naruto would openly make a joke about the Kyuubi. He put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. I just wanted to see for myself what makes you special in her eyes, and it's definitely not the demon. Hell, I even know it's not your sense of humor. You want to know what it is? What? Your heart. My heart? Yeah. I've never seen anyone with more heart than you, Naruto. You can take the worst of times and mold it into something that shines. I'll be honest. If I had been tormented by the village as long as you had, I wouldn't have lasted. And for someone like you to still smile after all of the bullshit, excuse my language, it shows that you're a survivor. You know, Irika-sensei basically told me the same thing. That's because he's smart. If a person can see that in you, then they're smart too. It makes me proud to know my daughter isn't that much of a follower. What do you mean? Inoichi frowned. You know how Sakura and Ino are always fighting over Sasuke Uchiha, right? Naruto nods. Ino only began to like Sasuke because Sakura did. However, Ino's intentions were to say that she and Sakura had more in common, but Sakura took it the wrong way. Because of this conflict, they broke up as best friends. I could have told her that wasn't going to end well. I tried, but she wouldn't listen. She thought that she and Sakura were too close to end their friendship over a boy. If Ino doesn't really like Sasuke, then why keep fighting over him? Ino is prideful. She doesn't want to lose to Sakura after what she did. But also, somewhere along the line, I think Ino began to develop emotions for the Uchiha as well. Naruto looked confused. I know it's complicated. Listen, I can walk people's minds, and I tell you, the mind of a woman is a very dangerous place. I just thought that women were dangerous in general, he said, remembering all the scoldings he's got from Sakura. Inoichi laughed. You know, I enjoy talking to you, Naruto. Same here. It's been a pleasure. Okay. Have you gotten your ninja license picture taken already? Naruto froze on spot. He gulped. I totally forgot. And I spent the money for it at Ichiraku's. What am I gonna do? My first mission and I'm going to blow it already. Calm down, Naruto. Here, I'll lend you the money for now. In return, I want you to come by tomorrow when you finish with your training. Deal? Naruto hastily took the money and agreed. But after a few seconds of holding the money, he held it back out towards Inoichi. I'm sorry, I can't accept this, Inoichi-san. Why not? I made a promise that I would never let anyone save me from my own problems. So what are you going to do? I'll think of something. Inoichi stared at Naruto. Such determination surprised Inoichi, even after all that he said to Naruto. It just added to the thoughts that Inoichi wanted the blonde shinobi around. He could work wonders on Ino, and maybe even make her change completely. No. I'm not saving you from anything. That's why I want you to come by tomorrow. You can work for what you owe me, so that should be fair and legitimate, right? Naruto just looked at the money for a second before nodding. He pocketed the money and bowed to Inoichi. Thank you, Inoichi-san. I truly appreciate this. No problem, Naruto. He replied, amazed at how humble Naruto had been the entire time. And remember, we're your friends, Naruto, whether you realize it or not. Okay, Naruto caught himself in the middle of his speech. Inoichi had caught on and was blushing. He scratched the side of his cheek, looking down at flowers that he knew didn't interest him one bit. I'm sorry, Naruto said quickly and left. He stared at the blonde as he made his way down the road and turned out of sight. As he looked at the empty space, a tear formed in his eye. Cammy, what has this boy done to deserve to go through this? What have I done to be revered so respectfully by him? Naruto cursed himself for almost letting his tongue slip. Baka, why don't you just go and tarnish the bond you got with the guy already? What was I thinking? About to call him Baka, he ran quickly towards the building where the pictures were being taken. The sun had begun to set, so he only had a few more minutes to get it done. He frowned at his thoughts. The problem was that he did feel like he had a bond with kunoichi. He didn't even have complete trust in him, but something about him made Naruto feel alright. It was weird, because he had gotten away with calling Irika dad a few times, but each time Irika told him not to call him that, and then would remain silent for a long time, as if grieving. Naruto never understood why. When he reached the building where the pictures were being taken, he had forgotten why he had come. Then he saw a flash on top of the building and remembered. He leaped onto the top of the building and saw Sasuke walking away. Hey Sasuke! He called. His comrade only stopped for a second and then continued on, leaving. Hey, why is he giving me the cold shoulder all of a sudden? He scratched his head and walked over to the photographer. You're lucky you've gotten here on time. I was just about to leave. I'm sorry. I had forgotten about the pictures and had spent a little more time celebrating than I intended. Don't worry, you're not the first. Naruto stood in a box the photographer had made with tape. Then he did his most professional smile. The photographer snapped the picture and accepted the money. It had taken less time than Naruto thought, so he quickly jumped from the roof, intending on following Sasuke. However, as soon as he touched the ground, he saw the Uchiha standing with his arms crossed and his back against a building. Come on, Dobe. Naruto glared at Sasuke, but followed anyway. He wanted to ask a question, but Sasuke looked too upset. They leapt from building to building, heading towards where the school was. Naruto was patient, waiting to see what Sasuke was planning. Are you mad? Sasuke asked, catching Naruto off guard. No, why? Okay, was all he said before looking forward again. The two remained silent until they got to the front of the academy. Naruto saw another person, sitting on the swing he used to sit on, crying. He understood that Sasuke brought him there because of a problem. However, what the problem was still a blank for Naruto. Sakura-chan, what's wrong? As soon as he spoke, Sakura's eyes darted at him, then Sasuke and around the area. He knew at once that she was terrified of something. But was it him? SAS Sasuke-kun, why would you bring him here? He has a right to know. But, you shouldn't have come to me first. I won't hide something like this from him. Sakura hung her head and Naruto looked on confused. Okay, someone tell me what the hell is going on here. Sasuke looked at Sakura, but when he saw that she made no response, turned to Naruto himself. First things first, she's been suspended from ninja duty for some time. What? Why? Sakura-chan, what did you do? She just kept her head down, still sniveling. She didn't do anything, Naruto. Her mother, Ishi Haruno, did. Naruto looked confused for a second. What did she do, and why is Sakura-chan being punished for it? Sasuke looked at Sakura and then back at Naruto. Sakura had stopped crying and looked as if she had tensed all over. Ishi was caught, and identified as one of the people who burned your apartment, Naruto. For a split second, Naruto didn't hear Sasuke. And then the words replayed in his mind, creating a relapse, and plunging him into complete shock. For a few minutes all he could do was stare at Sasuke, his lips slightly parted. Then reality hit him like a train. He blinked and turned to Sakura. What? Your mother was one of the people who burned my apartment? Sakura had now returned to her crying, and was hugging herself. Sasuke had taken a step back, as Naruto's rage seemed to become a living entity. Sakura, did you know? He half screamed at her. Sasuke rose an eyebrow, seeing as Naruto shaved off the chan after Sakura's name. For Sakura's part, all she could do was look down and away from the enraged teen. Sakura, for the love of Kami, please tell me you didn't know. He sounded as if pleading, but in reality he was demanding. I just found out today. When I was summoned to the Hokage's office. Naruto's anger faltered for just a bit. He paced around trying to calm himself down. All he wanted to do was strike something. He stopped pacing and flared a hand sign, creating a clone right next to him. Then with tremendous force, he smashed a fist into the clone, sending it flying away from the academy and into the night sky. Calm yet? Sasuke asked, seeing the clone turn into smoke in the air. Naruto turned to him, and the look on Naruto's face showed that his anger had been replaced with sorrow. Sasuke looked away, feeling sorry for him. But it was diminished right away, because Sasuke knew more than anyone else that Naruto hated being pitted. Naruto walked slowly over to Sakura, who stared wide-eyed at him trembling. Sakura, didn't you come to me first? Why were you planning on hiding this from me? I was afraid. Afraid of what? That I would hate you. After all the torturing you've done to me ever since we started in the academy, I still haven't hated you. I doubt that you really cared what I felt about you anyway. I was afraid that you'd hurt me. Hurt you? 1. I would never hurt you. I've been trying to tell you that for years. 2. How can you be so self-centered? How the hell can you be this stupid? He turned from her, fist clenched again. I wouldn't have blamed you. Hell, I don't blame you now. It's just, I've finally realized what type of person you are. Did you know that my puppy, Hiro, was in that fire? If it wasn't for Kakashi-sensei, he would have been dead. Sakura had returned to her silence. Naruto turned to her. Thanks for putting it in perspective for me, Sakura. You don't care about me or Hiro. That's why you didn't come to me first. You were afraid that I would hurt you. If you would have paid attention all these years, you would have known that I would never hurt you, and I wouldn't even have held a grudge against Ishmael, not that long of one anyway. He looked at her as her face began to soften and the tears dried on her cheeks. He growled lowly. You weren't even crying about me, were you? The look on Sakura's face reflected her answer in shock. You were crying because you thought that you wouldn't be close to Sasuke, weren't you? That's not true. I was mad at what she did. Really? Or did you just see the reflection of yourself in her, and began to pity me? Sasuke had gotten nervous, too did. I did feel sorry for you. I don't want any pity, especially yours, he screamed. Sakura gasped from the outburst, and almost fell from the swing. What scared her most was that she thought she saw his eyes turn red for a second, and his teeth become fangs. He shivered with rage. All I wanted was for you to actually just like me, but instead I get your pity. And not only that, false pity, because as soon as tomorrow came, you would have probably continued treating me like the shit on the bottom of your shoe. If you would have just come to me first, Sakura, he looked away, I would have never seen the truth. So I thank you? Naruto, I am sorry. He didn't respond. Was the third planning on telling me? He asked. I don't know, he snorted. He closed his eyes and sighed heavily. Then he turned to Sasuke. I want to talk to you later, tomorrow actually. I have something I need to do right now. What? I just want to speak with the Hokage and straighten this mess out. Sasuke nods. Naruto looks back at Sakura. He couldn't believe anything he had said. He actually didn't feel like he had said it. Like something else was toying with his mind. Why was something different? He knew the way Sakura had treated him in the past wasn't fair, but why now? She obviously didn't give a rat's ass about Naruto, his apartment, or Hiro. And if she did, it wasn't much at all. But why would this make Naruto explode? As Naruto leapt towards the Hokage's office, the flames inside his mind began to change. Now the white flame only burned like a small leader, and the black flame bellowed high. He landed at the window to the Hokage's office. The Hokage saw Naruto, and noticing the conflicting look on his face, ordered him to sit. He moved the papers to the side that were on his desk. Then he took the pipe from his drawer and began to smoke. Naruto just watched, eyes glazed with tears that would not fall. It made him look sleepy, although he really was, but more than was true. The third sighed. Naruto, not for one moment think that I was not going to inform you. Then why? Why did I have to come here to get an answer myself? Why didn't you send someone to get me like you did, Sakura? I didn't want problems, Naruto. While Ishii was here. Wait a minute. You thought if I was here there would be problems? You should know me more than anyone else, Grandpa. Naruto called, eyes beginning to blur with tears that just refused to fall. The third only looked at the glossy sapphires on Naruto's face. It made him want to cry as well, but he remained subtle. Naruto, with the past few events, such as you learning about the Kyuubi, and the attempt on your life by a well-respected Leaf Nin, I had to take all the necessary precautions. I am sorry if I have offended you, but you must understand. Offend me? That's all you think? To feel like you've betrayed me. How could you keep such things from me? You are human, Naruto, and if I would have told you about what Ishii had done, not just with Ishii, why wouldn't you tell me about the fox? I don't care about a decree. That decree can burn in hell for all I care. You know me, Lord Hokage-sama. You know I wouldn't hurt anyone in this village unless absolutely necessary. You know me. No, Naruto. I don't. I don't know you at all. You are not the same brat who painted Hokage Mountain countless times. You are not the failure of the academy. You are not the innocent child who I cared for. Naruto looked at the third in shock. What do you mean? He said, lip quivering. I am well aware of what would have transpired if Iruka wasn't present at the time of the incident last night. I know, Naruto, that you would have the blood of Mizuki on your hands if he would not have stopped you. The Naruto I knew would have never done anything that rash or vindictive. Naruto trembled now. His jaw shook, as if trying to hold back a flood of tears. I look at you, Naruto, and I see a fine shinobi. But I also see a man filled with pain, and anger, and hatred. As I see this man, I feel obligated to protect him, from others and himself. But as I see today, I can no longer do that. As hard as you've tried to keep all of your emotions bottled up, you've failed to forge them. Many of your comrades and teachers may have been fooled, but I am not. I see the rage you hold bubbling inside of you, and now it is overflowing. You can't hide it anymore, Naruto, and you will have to learn how to deal with it, without me holding your hand. Naruto dropped to his knees. He wanted to cry. Wanted to scream, to anything. But he couldn't. It was all in the open now. His false happiness, his perky illusion. It was all shattered. There was no way he could hide it any longer, and was afraid of it. The person who he'd been lying to the most was himself. And the lies just kept coming. The trust that he thought he had was a lie. Those who he thought really cared for him, he thought it was all a lie. He couldn't even hate anyone, especially the third. He understood that the whole reason he was lied to was because he lied to himself. Naruto, if it helps, continue on with your charade. But I warn you, it will never end good, no matter what you do. Naruto stood, turned and exited the Hokage's office. The entire time, he hadn't shed one tear. The Hyuga residence is silent. The only sound heard is the pad of light footsteps going throughout the house. The footsteps stop in front of a door, and continues as the door opens. Then the house is plunged into silence once again. Sitting in meditation is the Hyuga head, Hayashi Hyuga. He scrunches his brow, annoyed at the intrusion. This better be important, he said, eyes still closed. Father. Speak clearly or leave me be, Hinata, he said, finally opening his eyes. The white-eyed heiress just swallowed and took a deep breath. Father, I passed the genin test today and have been assigned to Squad 8, under Kurinai-sensei. He stared at his daughter for a few seconds. That's it. Hinata, do not disturb me while I am meditating with such mediocre success. If you want to tell me something, come back after you've passed the Chunin exam. Now got to bed. Get enough sleep so you won't pass out for nothing, as I've been informed about. And that goes for you too, Hinabi. The smaller Hyuga had been sitting by the doorway listening in on the conversation, and once her name was called, she immediately replied yes, father, and scurried away. Hinata had been on the verge of tears, but they didn't show. She didn't refuse to cry, she just couldn't. She turned from her father, feeling destroyed, and skulked towards the room she shared with the Ambai. Hayashi sighed as he couldn't return to his meditations. He stood and walked down a hall towards his own room. Once inside, he locked the door and retrieved a picture from atop his dresser. It was a picture of a woman who looked almost exactly like Hinata, but her hair went all the way down her back. She wore a black shirt that resembled Hinata's, but on top she had the Jonin vest. Forgive me, my love. I could never say what you would. Hinata is growing up fine, without my help. I wish I knew a better way to show her I love her. She may have not realized it, but I've already told her that I believe she could pass the Chunin exams. I know it is much more harsh than you would have allowed, but I'm not as tender as you. However, I promise to take care of Hinata and Hinabi, and continue to remember you forever. And no, I am just as proud of Hinata as you are. He had the picture and sat it down. Once Hinata entered her room, Hinabi ran and hugged her. Hinata was surprised by the action but soon hugged back. I'm happy for you, Nei-chan. Thank you, Hinabi-kun, she said, squeezing her little sister, and I think Daddy is too. He's just too cranky and old to show it. Hinata smiled and giggled. Don't say that. Father is a very stressed man, and has a lot to deal with right now. You mean since Mommy died? Hinabi said, sorrow filling her. The same happened to Hinata as well. Yes, that is what I mean. Hanabi hugged her older sister one more time before going to bed as instructed. Hinata did the same and laid in her own bed. For a while she just laid with her eyes closed trying to sleep. Then she heard the door to the room open. She went completely still. She heard footsteps. Then they stopped. After a few seconds they continued again, sounding closer to her. They stopped again. She didn't want to open her eyes. Then, she felt on her forehead. She almost opened her eyes until she heard someone speaking. I am very proud of you, Tenchi. Then the person leaves. Hinata's tears finally leave the sanctum of her eyes. She rolls over onto her side to see Hanabi staring right at her, and crying as well. Both girls remained silent before crying themselves to sleep. Crying, believing it was a dream, Naruto entered Irika's house. It was extremely late. He was tired and didn't even wake Irika to tell him that he was home. He simply walked over to the couch, kicked off his shoes and flopped down. He didn't have enough strength to walk to the guest room on the second floor. He could care less anyway. I will continue this way. I don't care what the old man said, I'll make it work. No matter what. As Naruto began to close his eyes, he could hear a deep chuckling. He had no time to think about it as he soon found himself fast asleep. The two flames inside of Naruto were extinguished. But not permanently, just for the day. And they were extinguished by the tears that would not fall. The thump of each and every footstep is heard as the young boy runs through the street. It's so quiet you can hear the drops of his tears as they hit the dirt ground. He is running with his eyes closed, not wanting to see the death that surrounded him. The sky, edged with black buildings, glowed red. The clouds seemed to move at 10 times normal speed. Brother! Please stop this! He trips and falls. But no solid stopped him. He plunged, flipping head over heels, into darkness. In a matter of seconds he landed on a wooden floor. He struggles to bring himself to his knees. His struggle is interrupted by voices. Sasuke, come help us. His eyes dilate. He slowly turns around and finds himself sitting in his parents' room. All the furniture was gone, and a blue light spilled into the room from the window. His parents sat side by side in the middle of the room. Sasuke's brother, Uchiha Itachi, stood right above them. Don't let him kill us, Sasuke. His mother said while still smiling. Yes, stop him, Sasuke. His father taunted. Or are you too weak to stop him? They both call. No! Stop it! The young Uchiha called, gripping his head. The room changed. His parents' faces were all over the walls. Stop him, Sasuke. Don't let him kill us. Or are you too weak? Ha ha ha, what's wrong, Sasuke? Make me proud of you. Don't you love your mother, Sasuke? Or are you too weak? The last voice that spoke was none other than Itachi himself. The faces remained on the walls, but none were speaking anymore. Itachi stood over who were supposed to be Sasuke's true parents. Foolish little brother. You are pathetic. The faces on the wall began to repeat the word pathetic. Power is what drives us, Sasuke. But you have none. Now the faces chanted none. You don't have the strength to kill me. You don't have the hate. And you know what? You never will. He brought his sword down, cutting both of their parents. Sasuke screamed. Stop it! He closed his eyes, screaming and crying. Then do something about it. He stopped crying when he heard this voice. He looked up and saw young Naruto. Everything around them was white. You do something about it, and I'll help. Naruto, but I can't. Yes, you can, Sasuke. You can do anything. You're an Uchiha, and so am I. Itachi's voice rang out once more, the white filled with black. Sasuke lost sight of Naruto for a few seconds. However, when he focused, he saw Itachi holding Naruto by the neck. You can't protect anyone, he said as he plunged the sword into Naruto. Stop it! His yell echoed throughout the Uchiha compound. He was sitting up in bed, breathing heavily. He was sweating under the sheets. Another nightmare. He looked at his shaking hands. Damn you, Itachi, I will kill you someday, and I will gain power. One way or another. He looked at the picture of him and Naruto as kids that sat next to his bed. But you just keep getting stronger already. Opposite side of the village. All the nights that he has slept, he's only had nightmares. Nightmares about his childhood, to be exact. However, this night was different. Different because he couldn't tell if he was dreaming or not. He was sitting in some type of prison for all he could tell. In front of him bars rose up, so far that he couldn't see the end. There were small seal tags all over the bars, but one in the middle was larger than all the rest. The seal looked like it was made of glass. Fog covered the ground. He didn't know if he was dreaming, because everything around him felt real. He could feel the coolness from the fog, and could feel the amazing chakra signature coming from in the darkness behind the bars. Now he was alert. Where the hell am I? He wondered. Behind the bars he heard a low growling sound. Then two large, red eyes opened, peering at him. He froze in fear, mouth agape. All these years and now you finally decide to come see me. Naruto couldn't help but whimper as he heard the deep voice coming from the darkness. He shivered. Do I frighten you, Naruto? Then you must know who I am. Yurith Kyubi. The monster chuckled. Bingo. Naruto tried to calm down, but he couldn't. It was the first time in his life that he had ever feared anyone or anything to such a high magnitude. Relax, kid, I'm not going to eat you. You just taste like ramen. Naruto gulped and tried to relax. He sat down on the floor before finally getting the courage to speak again. What? You still scared? Fine, what if I do this? Naruto saw red smoke begin to form right behind the bars. Then it began to form into a small red fox. The fox had 9 tails flowing behind it. It was small enough to fit through the bars now, but it remained on its side. You feel like talking now? A voice came from the fox, although its lips didn't move. It just kept staring at Naruto with its glowing red eyes. What's going on here? How am I talking to you? This is the deepest part of your existence. This is where the Yondaime has sealed me. No one can enter this place except for you, but I don't want to be here. I don't want you here. Get out of my body. Believe me, if I could, I would. And then I wouldn't have to listen to all the bullshit you tell people. Naruto gasped at the fox's words. Then he growled. Great, even the almighty Kyubi doesn't approve of me lying. What next? Akamaru's gonna yell at me? Silence. I could care less about your lies. I have called you here because of something I needed to discuss with you. I have nothing to discuss with you. You have no choice. You're not strong enough to leave this place by yourself, so until I say what needs to be said, you will remain here. Damn fox, everything that's happened so far is your fault anyway. He thought, now that you have graduated from the academy, I want to give you a little present. He looked up, surprised. But then he looked away again. I don't want anything from you. Fine, I will keep the memories the fourth sealed away with me from you then. Naruto had stood and rushed towards the bars before he realized it. What? He sealed away memories? Naruto was right in front of the fox, who was looking up at him. Wait, why would you give me a present for graduating the academy anyway? Why would you show me memories from the past? The fox sighed. Whether I like it or not, I've grown fond of you over the past few years. I think because some of his emotions rubbed off on me. Whatever the case may be, I feel obligated to show you this. Naruto was engulfed in red smoke. He felt himself spinning as the red faded to black. And then, he could see a light. He didn't know what it was, but it was the only sign of anything else besides darkness. He ran forward. The light seemed far off, and the longer he ran, the more he wanted to cry. Then, with a large effort, he hit the light and began crying. Wait a minute? Why do I sound like a baby? Because, Naruto, this is the day you were born. His eyes finally adjusted to the light. He was being held. He looked up into the face of a doctor with glasses that reflected the light into his face. No wonder he was crying. Then the doctor handed him to someone else, someone who was laying down. He turned his head to face the person holding him and stopped crying instantly. A woman held him, with emerald eyes and long black hair. Her face was as pure as falling snow, and her smile as warm as fire. If only your father were here now, she said. What are you going to call him? A nurse asked. Naruto. Naruto. However, the naming ceremony was interrupted. A loud explosion was heard outside of the building. Then a roar is heard. Naruto looks at the woman holding him, just to see the look of terror on her face. He begins to cry again. He looks toward the door as the state of emergency siren can be heard outside. A doctor and a nurse were panicking and talking. What's happening? It's the Kyubi! It's here and has broken the wall. Another loud roar is heard. Without warning, the side of the hospital is blown away. Naruto hears the woman holding him speak again. Here. Take him. But what about you? The nurse said, taking Naruto from the woman. I can't move, there's nothing we can do. Just protect Naruto, she called. As Naruto looked back at the woman, a man with a spiral mask appeared in the room. Just before the nurse turned to leave, Naruto saw the man in the mask plunge a kunai into the woman's chest. The nurse ran until she was outside, following a doctor. Once outside, Naruto saw it. The giant Kyuubi. He roared and smashed buildings. Kunai, and various other attacks slammed into the beast, all looking like they had no effect. However, when Naruto looked closer in the Kyuubi's red eyes, he saw sorrow. Then everything went black again. He appeared back in front of the fox's cell. Naruto, the fox said in a hushed tone. He was still crying. His tears fell, breaking through the fog and hitting the floor with an echo. That was my mother, right? That is correct. He punched the floor. Who was it? I am sorry, Naruto, but I cannot access any more of that memory at this time. Until then, you will have to remember this one. Damn it! He screamed, punching the ground again. Someone killed my mother! Right after he couldn't finish. He shook with sorrow and rage, breathing heavily. And where was my father at this time? He called. Trust me, Naruto, he was very busy fighting me. Naruto took a few minutes to calm down. He wiped his tears on the sleeve of his jacket. Then he looked back at the Kyuubi. You were in pain. You looked like you were confused. The fox looked away. I was. One day, I'm enjoying a perfect walk with my kitsune. The next thing I know, I'm summoned in the Leaf Village. I didn't know what was happening, but when the villagers began to attack me, I had no choice but to attack back. So you had no intentions of destroying the Leaf Village? Of course not. The truth is that I had ties with the Leaf Village. I was friends with a Toad King, named Gamabunta, who was the Leaf Village's sacred protector. Don't believe everything people say, Naruto. Just because we were different, they hated us. I looked like a vicious creature and was treated as one. However, the death of your mother was not an accident, as you have seen. Naruto looked away. He didn't want to trust the fox, and didn't know if what he had just shown him was true, but it all seemed to fit. Like he had remembered it his whole life. You can hate me, Naruto, and it's only fair, but I will be here only to help you. The Kyuubi stopped as he felt a hand on his head. I don't hate you. I understand you. They hated you because you were different, just like me. But I guess I can't be selfish that way either. It's not me they hate, not really anyway. They still see you, and hate you. I don't exist. It's only you. He stopped as he heard the fox purring. He chuckled. It's all just a perspective. As far as I'm concerned, you're harmless. The fox had stopped purring. Then it tried to take a bite out of Naruto's hand. Who you calling harmless? Hey, that was uncalled for. He said, smiling. That's not funny, Naruto. You trying to hurt my pride or something? Naruto could only laugh at the fox. Then he sighed. Why did you wait until now to talk to me? There are many reasons why, Naruto. The main reason, I guess, is because of that seal. As long as that seal remains on there, I have no connection to the human world. However, 2 days ago, the seal cracked very slightly. Naruto looked up and noticed that a small crack was on the upper right-hand corner of the seal. How'd that happen? I don't know. I think it happened once Mizuki told you the truth about me. Your anger slipped, and somehow, you began to take chakra from me. I took chakra from you? Yes. I don't know how or why, but you did. So the weaker that seal gets, the closer you come to getting out of here? That is correct. After a few minutes, Naruto stood. I need to get going. Naruto, do not tell anyone of anything we have discussed. I will tell you when the time is right to let someone know. All right. Just between you and me. Do not get me wrong, Naruto. Do not try and release me from the seal, because if I get out, I will take revenge on the Leaf Village. But I thought you said, things have changed, Naruto. Just as you have. Naruto felt himself being pulled away from the cell. Then, he jolted up straight. He felt water under him. He looked down and saw that the entire couch was wet. He was sweating beyond human possibility. He pushed down on the couch, making a little sweat pour and drip onto the floor. He felt numb, and his arms trembled. He stood and almost fell over. His legs felt like gel. Damn it, what the hell just happened? He wiped the little sweat that still held onto his head. He stumbled to Irika's bathroom and undressed. He got in the shower and let it run over him. My mother was murdered. Why would someone do that? Why my mother? For a second he wanted to say why not Sakura's mother. He washed and dressed. When he exited the shower, he found Irika in the kitchen cooking breakfast. Irika-sensei, what are you doing up? It's 4:30 a.m. He yawned while scrambling eggs. I know you have to meet Kakashi in a little bit, so I decided to fix you something to eat before you go train. Oh thanks. He sat at the table and put his head down. If what the fox showed him was true, then sooner or later, he would want to find his mother's murderer. And where the hell was his father? Where was he now? He gritted his teeth and growled. Irika heard him. You okay, Naruto? Huh? Oh yeah? I'm fine, he said, faking a smile. Irika just sighed and continued to cook. He finished and placed the plate down in front of Naruto. Thanks, Irika-sensei. Wait, where's your plate? That's all the breakfast food we have right now. I'll go get some more later. He looked down into the food. He pushed the plate forward. Here, you eat it. Irika chuckled. No, Naruto. I cooked it for you, but if it's the last of your food, then I have no right to eat it. Naruto, it's the last of our breakfast food. There's plenty of stuff left in the kitchen. Did you say our? Of course. As long as you stay here, anything that's mine is yours. And yours is mine? Not unless you trust me enough. Naruto looked at Irika, feeling more respect for him than ever before. There are some people who I don't need to fake happiness with. Irika-sensei is one of them. Hurry and eat, Naruto, or you'll be late. Naruto quickly ate and then left. He ran towards the exit of the village. He thought about how hectic the day was going to be. Almost at the exit to the village, Naruto saw a flash of blue behind a large wall. He stopped running and looked. Another burst of blue was seen and a gentle, almost cute grunt was heard. What the hell's that? He thought and ran towards the fence. He jumped up and stood on it. He was staring into an extremely large backyard that looked like a training ground itself. The only difference was that there were wooden dummies all over the place with dots covering them. Naruto watched as a girl spun and sent a large burst of chakra arching into the air. Then the girl saw Naruto and squeaked. She flushed red and took a step back, tripping over an exposed branch. Naruto dropped down and went to help her up. Hey, you okay, Hinata? What's wrong with you? She could only tremble and hold her breath. She seemed to be whimpering. Huh? Wait, you're not scared of me, are you? He said, taking a step back. Hinata saw and opened her mouth. Finally, something came out. No, she half yelled. Then what's wrong with you? You act like you've seen a ghost or something. Sorry, Naruto-kun. Naruto looked confused at the girl. He walked over to her, and her blush spread. She looked down, away from him. What are you doing out here this early anyway? Hinata faced him, the color on her face slowly fading. I just wanted to get a little more practice in with the basics, you know. The basics, huh? I've never seen anyone move pure chakra to their will like that. It was like you were making it dance. It's the basic for Hyuga training. Hyuga training? What's that? A type of training that only those of our bloodline can undergo. We have to have perfect chakra control and manifestation. Looks like you've mastered it. No, not really. I'm still training at an academy Hyuga's level. That's why I wake up every day at 3 a.m. and practice until I can't raise my arms. 3? Every day. Hinata's face flooded with pink again. Wow. I respect that, Hinata. Maybe I should try getting up early and training from now on. Then he stopped. Shit. Training. Sorry, Hinata, but I have to go for I'm late for training. Talk to Olita promise okabi. He said in one breath while running and jumping over the fence. She stood staring at the empty space. What just happened? She said before returning to her training. On the second floor of the building, a curtain closed after someone had watched the entire scene. He exited the village at top speed and darted down the path to the training ground. Once there, he saw Sasuke sitting with his back to a rock. He skidded to a stop, almost slamming right into him. You're late, Dobe, he said with a smirk. Oh, screw you, team, he called, sitting next to him. I'm late? Where's Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke shrugged. Probably watching us right now, planning a sneak attack. Naruto looked around. He could see nothing out of the ordinary. He just shook his head and relaxed. You wanted to talk to me about something? Sasuke asked. Oh yeah? What's the deal with you giving me the cold shoulder after graduation? Sasuke frowned slightly, remembering the nightmare he had. There was something I needed to take care of by myself. I was coming to see you after I was done. Take care of what? Naruto, I would tell you if it were anything but what it is. Wait, what? Sasuke chuckled. You'll find out in time though, but I wish you wouldn't. Naruto just sighed at Sasuke's puzzling words. It was one of the first times Sasuke had held a secret from Naruto. He stretched and turned with his back facing Sasuke. Sasuke turned and leaned his back against Naruto's. When we go on missions, we'll watch each other's backs, alright? Naruto said. Even when we're not on missions, though. Just because we're genin now doesn't mean anything will change. Sasuke lied, but he wanted to sound true enough to convince himself. 1 hour later, Naruto and Sasuke sleep back to back. A small cricket hops towards them. Then it lands on Naruto's leg and bounds up to his face. He slowly opens his eyes and yawns. The cricket hops off and Naruto watches as it disappears into the bushes. Wait, that thing was ick! He yelled, wiping his face. Ugh, disgusting bugs! Stop yelling, Dobe, Sasuke called, rubbing his eyes. Naruto scowled at him. He looked towards the sky. It was still dark, but the sun's light was visible beyond buildings. The sun's rising? It's been about an hour, and he's still not here. Just as he spoke, Kakashi appeared in a swirl of leaves. They both stood on their feet. What the hell? Where were you? Naruto called. Well, I came by earlier, but you two were sleeping so peacefully that I didn't want to wake you. So I left. Sasuke looked startled. You were here earlier? That's right. And the first thing I'm telling you is this: never let your guard down, even when you sleep. If I were an enemy, I wouldn't have hesitated to take both of your lives. Sasuke and Naruto both looked down. Now I assume both of you know why Sakura won't be joining us today, correct? They nod. We also haven't had enough time to find a third person to fill in her spot for the time being. Real training will be postponed until further notice. However, we still have work to do. He opened his pouch and pulled out his book. Today, I want you two to spar, so I can see what you need to improve on and what you don't. I will observe and tell you to stop when I've found enough information. If you're going to be reading, then how are you going to watch us? Sasuke asked. It's called multitasking. Now you will begin on my mark. And Sasuke, try not to hurt Naruto too badly. Sasuke ignored the comment, as did Naruto. They walked a few feet apart, and then faced one another. Ready, begin! He called, I never leaving the book. Sasuke and Naruto rush forward and begin their match. Their blows are constant and even. Neither were actually attacking at full strength, or even half in that matter. They kept throwing weak punches, while laughing when one made a small mistake. 30 minutes and they both stop, panting and looking at each other. Kakashi closed his book. Is there a reason you're both holding back? They looked at Kakashi confused. Neither one of you have used any ninjutsu, or any effective taijutsu for that matter. Sorry, Kakashi-sensei. We didn't know you wanted us to go all out, he sighed. Listen carefully. No matter if you're just training or if you encounter the enemy for real, never hold back. Strike at your enemy with the intent to kill. What you both did just now can be considered juvenile, and I expected more from you, Sasuke. You are genin shinobi now. This is not playtime or fun sparring. Naruto and Sasuke look at each other. It sounded kind of harsh, but that was part of being a ninja. Right now, I want you two to spar again. But this time attack like your life depended on it, because if you don't, I'll put a kunai into your backs. No ninjutsu, all taijutsu. Wait, Naruto said until Kakashi called begin. The two hesitate for a bit until they see Kakashi reaching for his kunai. They face each other and attack again. Sasuke throws a strong right jab at Naruto's gut and makes contact, but gasps as he feels Naruto's hands wrap around his wrist. Naruto raises Sasuke's arm and turns from him. He thrusts his hip into Sasuke's abs and flips him over his shoulder. While Sasuke was on the ground, Naruto had rose his foot, intending on getting a stomp on Sasuke's stomach. His foot was blocked and Sasuke pushes him back. He jumps up and spin kicks Naruto. Naruto slides back a few feet but rushes in again. It's a full frontal charge, so Sasuke thought he had the advantage. As soon as he was close, Sasuke threw another kick towards Naruto's face. He caught Sasuke's leg and did the same slam that he had done before. This time, he didn't let go of Sasuke's leg. Sasuke saw that he needed to increase his speed, so he pushed himself onto his hands and spun his body quickly, hitting Naruto with his free leg. He had enough momentum to spin again and hit Naruto with the leg that was just released. After the last hit, he landed on his feet and began to deliver blow after blow to Naruto. Kakashi had actually glanced over his book a few times to see what was happening. Then, Naruto finally stopped Sasuke's assaults by headbutting him. In one swift motion, Naruto swept Sasuke, and as he was falling, kicked him in the stomach, sending him bounding over the ground. When Sasuke stood, Kakashi put the book away completely. Don't get cocky, Dobe. If we could use jutsu, you wouldn't stand a chance. Yeah, right. Naruto said, smirking. But if your opponent is very effective with taijutsu, you might not get a chance to use your ninjutsu. Kakashi said, then I'll just have to be faster. Sometimes that won't work, Sasuke. In this case, Naruto is faster than you. And as for what I've seen, he uses judo as a main style, which is why he countered your moves so effectively. However, he needs more speed so he can counter more attacks. But when judo starts to fail, he uses reckless, yet powerful attacks to take you down quickly and get some distance. That was very smart, Naruto, but if your main attacks fail, think of something else. Never go wild with attacks or you could hurt yourself in the process. He pointed to Naruto's forehead, which he just noticed was bleeding. You, Sasuke, you have a somewhat more tactical style. Your main is Taekwondo, which would have been good if you had the power to back it up. If you had the strength, your attacks would have still hurt Naruto when he tried to counter. When your Taekwondo started to fail, you began to improvise, which was surprising. I've only seen one other person do that spin move you did on the ground. That was a hidden leaf style attack, just much slower. I think your second taijutsu should be hidden leaf. If Taekwondo doesn't work, you can always use it as a last resort. What about me, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked. Your judo is very impressive, but I don't know judo myself. There's only one person who can help you master that, and that's my guy. The same goes for hidden leaf style for you, Sasuke. As for a taijutsu for you to fall back on Naruto, how about you try Jeet Kune Do? But isn't that one of the hardest arts to learn? Sasuke asked. I don't know. I haven't learned that either. Guy is the taijutsu expert of the village, so if you have free time, you should go see him. Next time we meet will be in 3 days. I want you both to practice your main fighting style. I will be joining the next sparring match. They both groaned. Team dismissed, Kakashi said, vanishing into leaves. Sasuke sat down and so did Naruto. He looked at Naruto's forehead. You okay? Yeah, it's nothing. It'll be healed in a few minutes anyway. What? It's complicated. Sasuke thought about it for a bit but found his mind wandering back to his nightmare earlier. He cringed and began to sweat as the images flashed through his mind. He held his head in pain. Sasuke? Sasuke, you okay? He touched Sasuke and his head instantly hurt as well. The memories of his mother's death rushed his mind. Then he could hear the fox's voice. Naruto, it is a permanent psychological genjutsu. You must try to release it. How? Focus your mind, concentrate and take hold of reality. Naruto did as he was told. He released the genjutsu. Sasuke was laying on the ground, still seeing the images. Do the same to him. Naruto focused and touched Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke's face seemed to calm. Then he blinked. Naruto? What just happened? I don't know. Did you just put yourself in a genjutsu? Genjutsu no. Then Itachi's eyes flashed for a split second in his mind. Damn Hima genjutsu. He doesn't want me to ever forget. I can't sleep because of him, that bastard. Sasuke, do you need to go to the doctor or something? No. I'll be fine. You have to go. I'll see you later, Naruto. He stood and leapt away before Naruto could ask him anything. Naruto couldn't help but worry about Sasuke, and the event that had just taken place made him even more curious. However, Naruto had much more to do that seemed important as well, and didn't dwell on the situation any longer. He left the training ground, trying to clear his mind. However, something stood out to him that had happened. Was the fox talking to me outside? Daddy, I'm back, Ino yelled in the store as she entered, making the only customer present sigh in annoyance. Not so loud, dear, he said, finishing a purchase. The customer left, but Ino caught a quick glimpse at her. She had on a brownish jacket and a fishnet shirt beneath. She had her hair pinned up in a spiky ponytail. Kunoichi saw her watching the customer but said nothing. Daddy, don't worry. She's not dangerous. Those were semi-poisonous plants. Ino shrugged it off and walked behind the counter. She grabbed an apron and was prepared to take her spot behind the cash register. Not this time, sweetie. We have a new hand coming in today, so I need you to get the charts out. A new hand? You hired someone else? Yes, but only temporarily. Who is it? Was Uzumaki Naruto. Ino's mouth gaped open. Inosuke couldn't help but laugh at his daughter's face. What's wrong, dear? He called, trying to hold in more laughs. She shot her father a dirty look. I forgot to talk to him after graduation. When did you see him? When you were out with your team. I loaned him money and in return he's going to work here. Daddy, how could you do that without telling me? You like surprises, don't you? He called, still laughing. That's so unfair, she yelled, running into the back to retrieve the charts. Wow, she seems a little different already, and he hasn't even been here, she returned with a thick stack of dusty papers. She deliberately blew the dust at Kunoichi, making him cough and grimace. These are sold. Shouldn't you update these, Daddy? Well, yeah, Booty guess never got around to it. Dad, these documents say they're from 13 years ago. You've had plenty of time to renew them. Well, why don't you learn how to renew them and save me the trouble? Ugh, you're so lazy. She smiled. I'll do it manually, she said. That'll take hours. You'll have to catalog them all one by one, then see what are their special growing habits, and what areas they come from around the world. I know, Daddy. I can do it. You can't do it before Naruto gets here. Just try to sort those out, and put the ones we don't have any more back for references. She nods and gets to work. She looks at some of the flowers on display. Hey, wait. She was looking at the pink lotus. Dad, you're so careless. You put 1,200 yen instead of Rio. You really need to drink coffee in the morning. He looked over and noticed his mistake. My bad. I was in a rush. And speaking of the pink lotus, one is missing. Do you know what happened to it? She hesitated before answering. No, I don't. Funny, 'cause I thought that stock said that 12 were coming in, but we only have 10, counting that someone bought one today. You brought them in, right? Yes, but I don't have a clue what happened, Daddy. They must have made a mistake. Kunoichi frowned. Well, okay. But if you find out what happened to it, tell me. I don't want to have to work our extra hand even longer to pay for the flour. Ino gasped and blushed. He knew. Ino's blush didn't fade, even when Naruto had arrived. As soon as she set foot in the house, she had a feeling that something bad was going to happen. Her training with Team 8 had went way too smoothly, so she knew something bad had to happen right afterwards. Although as much as she wanted this thought to be false, it wasn't. Nei-chan, Papa wants to speak with you, Hanabi said with her head down. Hinata gulped, not liking the tone her little sister had used. She walked slowly through the house and towards her father's meditation chamber. Hanabi slid the door open and bowed on one knee. Hinata walked in and did the same. Hayashi looked at Hinata with a look of slight disdain. Rise, he said sternly, sending a chill down Hinata's back. Hanabi, leave us be. Hanabi left in a hurry. He glared at Hinata, making her feel uneasy. She had started to twiddle her fingers again. I will get straight to the point. Hinata, I don't ever want to see you talking to that demon child again. Naruto, as he is called. Hinata almost passed out again from her father's words. She looked around desperately, as if there was something in the room that could help her. She started to shiver with the pain of sorrow. Father, Naruto is not a demon. Naruto has never done anything to anyone. Do not even speak that demon's name in my presence. Hinata, he took away what was most precious to us. She suffered for years before death took her into its embrace. Hinata knew he was talking about her mother. She had been hurt when the Kyuubi attacked, but the fatal effects didn't show until after Hanabi's birth. No one ever knew why. Hinata was one of the only genin who knew about the demon being in Naruto. The Hokage had explained it to Hayashi when she had died. Nahat was not Naruto's fault. He was just a baby. He is not the Kyuubi. Hayashi grew furious. Leave my sight, Hinata. Leave me, or I swear by Kami I will hurt you. Hinata bit her lip, but not from complete sadness. Because her father would blame Naruto for her mother's death. It wasn't his fault at all. How could he just blame someone for what happened without a second thought? She turned and left the room, running to her own. She laid onto the bed and began to openly cry. Hanabi crossed the room and sat by her sister. Hinata? Why did Daddy call that orange boy a demon? She turned to Hanabi and stopped long enough to speak. Because, Hanabi, father is a fool. He will never understand how I feel or Naruto. Naruto is not a demon, and don't let anyone, not even father, tell you otherwise. He was once again sitting in his office, the sacrificial part of being Hokage. Nothing to do in the middle of the day besides paperwork. With a sigh he glanced out his window and towards Hokage Mountain, which portrayed the faces of 4 unique men. However, one stood out to him the most. He found his mind drifting back to his conversation with Naruto, no more than 12 hours ago. He wasn't expecting a knock at the door to interrupt his thoughts, nor was he expecting the person who knocked. Naruto. What a pleasant surprise. Have a seat. He motioned to one of the chairs in front of his desk. He silently sat down, but he looked like something else was on his mind. Pushing whatever it was away, he looked at the Hokage, smiled, and bowed. "Good evening, Hokage-sama. How's your day going?" The Hokage frowned slightly, seeing that Naruto still had his charade going, but he knew there was nothing he could do about it. "It is fine so far, Naruto. How about you? This was your first day on Team 7 under Kakashi, was it not?" "Hi. Kakasahi-sensei is strict, but I can tell he only wants the best for us. He seems to not really like us though." The Hokage looked down. Kakashi had his reasons for how he felt, though they probably weren't the best reasons. "Actually, that's the whole reason I wanted to talk to you, Hokage-sama. I wanted to ask a favor." "Sure, Naruto, what is it?" "I want you to reinstate Sakura onto our team, Lord Hokage. I don't think she should pay for what her mother did. I know it hasn't even been a day, but this isn't her fault. She didn't tell Ishii to burn my house, that was her own poor judgment." The third smirked. "Naruto, that is very kind of you. Are you sure you want her back on your team so soon?" "Hi. I kind of exploded on her yesterday for not telling me about it as soon as she found out, besides going to Sasuke team. But now I realize that she was probably confused about the whole thing." The Hokage pulled a paper out of his drawer and stamped it. Then he asked Naruto to sign the bottom. "Naruto, you did not have to do this. I know. I just felt like I had to for some reason." After he signed, the Hokage explained what it was. "Naruto, these documents are for temporary reinstatement of Sakura. If you feel she does not deserve to be returned to the team, bring them back and I will immediately remove her from the Genin roster, permanently. However, after a week has passed and you have not returned these papers, she will be put onto your team for good, and you will have no say in the matter anymore. Is that understood?" "Yes, sir." "Fine. Take these papers to Kakashi. He will return them to you the next time you go for training." As Naruto left, he frowned. He was avoiding talking to Naruto about what he really wanted. The scroll that Mizuki had wanted. However, the scroll held a secret that he didn't know how to reveal just yet, but from what Naruto had just done, maybe he wasn't too far from receiving the secret. It was genuine kindness, coming from the bottom of his heart. It was something that even Naruto himself didn't know he could show. Maybe it was his own better judgment. Whatever it was, it sure was different from what he was feeling. The pain he still felt from the memory that kept overriding his mind. He tried to shake away the thought and left the Hokage's office. "I've got a few more things to do before I can pick up Hiro. I should get to Ino's place." He smiled slightly when he had remembered that he was supposed to be working at the Yamanaka's. He hadn't seen Ino at all since they had graduated. It didn't take long for him to arrive at the small flower shop, and when he entered, Inoichi greeted him. "Naruto, we weren't expecting you so early." "Good to see you. You too, Inoichi-san." "Hey Ino-chan," he said to the blonde kunoichi who had her back turned. She slowly turned to face Naruto. Hey Naruto-kun." Her face was splashed with red. "What's wrong? You look just like how Hinata did yesterday. You're not gonna pass out, are you?" Ino sighed, and then smiled. "Of course not. No, here." She got an apron from behind the counter and gave it to him. She waited as he struggled with it. Then when he was officially tied up in the drawstrings, she pulled it from him. "Ugh, give it here." She tried to put it on him, but it was too small. "Naruto-kun, you should take off your jacket. This won't fit with that on." "Ah man. You don't have a bigger size?" "No, now just take the jacket off," she said, a little annoyed. "Please, Ino. Two can't." "Are you sure there's no bigger size?" "No, Naruto. Don't make me have to take it off for you." She looked away, blushing as she said it, thinking she had just worded that sentence wrong. He hesitated for a moment. Then, with a defeated sigh, he slowly unzipped it and hung it on a coat rack. He was wearing his dark blue t-shirt beneath it. Ino rose a brow at him. "Naruto, hat's that on you arm?" He quickly turned from her and covered the mark she was talking about. Inoichi was now looking as well. "Naruto, hat, is that mark on your arm?" he asked. He looked up at Inoichi. His eyes were glazed and fearful. He began to breathe just a little heavier. His lip trembled. All he could do is gulp and look between him and his daughter. "It's fine to tell us, Naruto. We won't tell anyone if you don't want us to, right, Ino?" "Yeah, Naruto-kun." "What's wrong?" Naruto looked down. Then, after a few moments of standing with his hand on his arm, he slowly raised the short sleeve on his shirt. A large gash, going from his forearm all the way to his shoulder, stood out from his light complexion, seeming to glow red. Ino stuttered at the sight and Inoichi sighed in disappointment. Naruto, how did that happen? Inoichi asked. Naruto completely took off his shirt, revealing cuts and gashes all over his chest, arms, and stomach. Ino slowly moved toward him. She couldn't speak. She just stared with her mouth agape at the destroyed flesh on Naruto. She slowly touched a scar on Naruto's chest. He winced, making Ino withdraw her hand. Ino, stop, Inoichi said. Ino just stood in front of Naruto wanting to cry for him. How did all of that happen, Naruto? Inoichi asked again, trying to hold back a tear as well. He looked down, away from them both. This is what happens when I make villagers mad at night. They make me pay for what I did to the village by beating me and stabbing me. No one ever comes to stop them when they hear me crying, they just look the other way like nothing is happening. They cut me until I can't bleed, beat me until I can't move, and choke me until I can't cry. Then they leave me at the back of the hospital. They don't want me to get better really. They just want me to come back out for another beating. He pointed to a long scar going from his right collarbone to his left in an upside-down arch. Thesis from when someone really tried to kill me. It happened 2 weeks ago. I was coming home from the academy, but a group of people began following me. I tried to run, he began to choke up. This memory was harder than any of the others to tell, but they chased me into an alley. Two yelled for help. Yelled for Irika-sensei, but he was still at the academy. There was no one that would help me. No one around that cared. They began to surround me. They hit me with anything they could get their hands on. I was hit with a pipe, stabbed with broken glass. When it stopped, I thought someone had come to stop them from hurting me. I was wrong. A man. I couldn't see his facade was so dark. He sat on top of me. He smelled of strong whiskey and ginger. I knew he was drunk. He went into his shirt and brought out a dagger. He rose it in the air and the people behind him began to cheer. He said that he would end the demon's spawn forever. They all cheered again and began to chant, kill him. The man's hand was so shaky and unstable. As soon as he put the blade to my neck, it broke skin. But his hand slid and the blade cut into my collar, and he yanked it all the way to the other side. He started laughing, realizing he had messed up. He shoved the blade into my side. Then he said that he knew the perfect way to make me suffer. He began to pull my pants down, but I passed out. Naruto had cried while halfway through. Ino still stood in front of Naruto, and Inoichi had sat down and was writing on a pad. He clutched the pen hard and had only realized Naruto had stopped speaking when he crushed it in his palm. He looked down at the inky mess and then turned to Naruto. Now Naruto, forget about working today, I want to talk to you if it is fine. He left the room to wash his hands. Naruto dropped to his knees and began to cry. The memories were always painful and he tried his hardest not to remember them no matter what. But he knew he couldn't. The fox left the scars on him as a reminder of what the villagers had done to him. All of a sudden, he felt arms wrap around him and he was pulled into the warmth of another. Ino had got on her knees as well and hugged Naruto. I'm so sorry, Naruto-kun. I'm so sorry, she said, sobbing. Naruto wanted to hug her back, but he was confused and he felt weak. His arms felt heavy. Inoichi returned and saw his daughter hugging Naruto, and after a while, Naruto hugged her back. The scene jerked at his emotions even more. What the hell, hasn't the Hokage seen this? Has anyone seen this? What cowardly, pathetic person would do such a thing? Thinking of it only made him angrier, and when he saw the look in Naruto's eyes, he wanted to crumble. How could they do something like that to him, to such a young and innocent boy? They did it 2 weeks ago. He couldn't finish his last thought. If only I could find the ones responsible for this. He looked at the two again, and was surprised to see them embraced even tighter than before. He walked over to them and touched Ino's shoulder. Ino, I want to talk to Naruto alone for a bit. Put the close sign in the window, and then go to your room for a bit. But, Inoichi hugged her. Just do it, Ino. Just for a little. Naruto will still be here. She reluctantly nodded and then did as her father instructed. Once he was sure that Ino was in her room, he motioned for Naruto to sit at a table. Naruto, from what I've just heard, there's something going on that you're not telling people, and I think this story starts before what you told us. Just from what you said, you seem to be going through a lot of emotional and psychological stress, and I can help you with it. I'm not just someone you can talk to, Naruto. My family specializes in mental therapy. I know it will be hard, but I want you to talk to me, Naruto, about anything regarding your past that you know. You don't have to tell me everything now. If you feel like it, we can schedule days for you to come in and we can talk. Naruto looked down at the table. He wiped his eyes, which seemed to be swelling, and nodded. To want to talk to you, Inoichi-san, but I don't know how. It hurts so much just thinking of it. Inoichi was seeing a whole new side of Naruto. He had never given a thought that he was going through this, and his conversation with Naruto from the previous day showed no signs of it either. How could I be such a fool? Why didn't see how much pain he was in earlier? Inoichi took one of Naruto's hands. Just say whatever you feel comfortable with, Naruto. I won't tell anyone about anything we discuss. I will try my hardest to help you deal with your problems in a better way. Hiding your emotions behind your false happiness is mentally dangerous, Naruto. A day may come where you can't take it anymore, and then you'll end up going crazy or mentally deteriorating. But I tried to end it, Inoichi-san. I really have. What are you talking about, Naruto? He watched as Naruto untied his wrist wraps. Inoichi couldn't believe his eyes. Long cuts ran all around his wrist, on both of them. He could still see veins that had been bled dry. Naruto tried. He nodded. I wanted it to be over. I wanted the pain to go away. At first I only did it to try and ease the rest of the pain I was feeling. But it didn't help at all. There was nothing else I could think of, and I knew if I could hit a vital vein then maybe I'd die in a matter of seconds, but he would never let me. Inoichi pulled Naruto forward, embracing him. He pulled him so fast that the table clattered onto its side. Naruto, there's always another way. That suicide is never your only choice. It should never arise as a choice at all, Naruto. I know the pain must have been overwhelming, but by Kami, that is not the right way to end it. Never, Naruto, and I mean never, do this to yourself again. I don't know what I'd do. Naruto was in shock by Inoichi's affection. It was the first time in his entire life that someone had cared for him like that. Like a father. And at that moment, that's all Naruto wanted Inoichi to be to him. Not a friend, not a therapist, but his father. It took a whole 10 minutes before he could recompose himself and release Naruto. Wiping one more stray tear from his eye, he sat the table back up and took his seat again. Naruto sat back down, his eyes now glowing with some far-off hope. Naruto, as of now, your debt is cleared. However, I want you to come in Tuesdays and Thursdays so we can talk. It can be about anything you want. I want you to trust me, Naruto, and I'll show you that there are more people in this village that care about you than you know. I'll make sure that you don't have to go through that again. And before Inoichi could finish, they heard heart pounding downstairs, and in an instant, Ino had flung herself onto Naruto, wrapping her arms gently around his neck from the back. Naruto-kun, I promise to help too. I promise not to tell anyone, and you won't have to hurt anymore. I'll be there for you so you can talk to me too if Daddy isn't around. Naruto's only response was putting his head against hers. I would like that, Ino-chan. Thank you. And thank you too, Inoichi-san. I will come in. Andy, think I already trust you. As Ino removed herself from Naruto, he stood and put his clothing back on. He thanked Inoichi once more and headed towards the door. Hold on, Naruto, I'm coming with you. What? Did you forget already? I said I was going to make sure that nothing happened to you. That doesn't start next time we meet, it starts now. I'm coming too, Ino said, walking up to Naruto and grabbing his hand. Ino-chan. Naruto, if you want someone to care about you, then I'll care the most, okay? As of now, I want you to be mine. Naruto and Inoichi were shocked by what was just spoken. Ino, you don't mean? Yes, Daddy. Naruto, I want to love you. I'll show you that you have someone to care for you. I know I can probably never beat the crush you have on Sakura, but I want to at least try. But what about Sasuke? Naruto asked, more confused than ever. I never really liked him anyway, and he definitely doesn't like me. Besides, he doesn't deserve me. You're the person I want, Naruto. He hesitated. She turned to face him. Without thinking, she pulled him to her and ate him. Naruto went wide-eyed. Her lips were soft. It was the best feeling he had ever felt in his life. After that, the only thought on his mind was that it was over too soon. He looked into her face, but she stared at the floor, as pink as the flowers growing in the shop. He took the lead and ate her back, just a small peck on the lips, because he was still confused about the first. Thank you? He said, turning to Inoichi for full approval. Inoichi just smiled and nodded. You know what this means now, Naruto? He said. What? You're a part of this family now. Anything you need, just ask. Naruto didn't know how, but in his short time in the Yamanaka residence, he had acquired not only friends, but a family. But deep down in him, he knew he would still and always be alone. 3 days later, Sunday morning, the days had gone by slowly. Nothing had happened whatsoever that was of any importance to Naruto. He thought it was weird. It was the most peace he'd had in a while. But what was even weirder was that he hadn't heard from Sasuke at all. After their first training session with Kakashi, Naruto hadn't even seen him around the village. However, ever since he had picked up Hiro from the vet, he didn't really leave Irika's house anyway. Even Ino had come over twice to see him and play with Hiro. No one else in the village, including Irika, knew of Naruto and Ino's relationship. They had taken the utmost care as to make sure it got out when the time was right. He was happy now, though. He was finally going out for his second training session, and Sasuke would be there. With the past boring days, he was almost sure nothing could go wrong. Irika-sensei, I'm leaving. Walk Hiro for me, will ya? Oh, and he left a present for you in the kitchen. Naruto darted out the house after he said the last part. He waited until he heard Irika yell at the top of his lungs. Naruto! He chuckled and then quickly made his way to Training Ground 6. Even if just a little, Naruto was happy that in the past few days, things had started to look up for him. Even the sun shined bright, as if finalizing his bliss. Once he made it to the training ground, he sat where he sat before. Sasuke wasn't there, but he didn't expect him to be. He had got there early. He laid back and started to watch the clouds float by slowly. After a while he heard someone approaching. Leaning up, he saw Sasuke leap from a tree and land right in front of him. Hey Sasuke team, now you're late. Sasuke just glared at Naruto before sitting down next to him. I'm not late. You're too damn early. Naruto was glad to see that nothing was wrong with Sasuke but couldn't help but ask. Did you figure out what happened with that genjutsu thing? Sasuke looked away. Just forget about it. But, forget it. Sasuke yelled, making Naruto flinch. He looked away again. Naruto looked back at the clouds. He watched as one slowly began to separate, and then break into two completely. They sat waiting for Kakashi in silence for another 2 hours. He finally showed up, and this time, either were asleep. Hello you two. So, did either one of you go see Guy? They shook their heads. It had slipped their minds. You're lucky then, because I have to cancel the spar anyway. We can finally begin your real training. You may join your team now, he spoke loudly. Sakura happily ran onto the training ground. Sasuke just sighed, but Naruto smiled. Welcome back, Sakura. Kakashi said. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. It's not me you should be thanking. She turned towards the boys. Oh yeah? Thank you, Sasuke-kun, for having me reinstated. Naruto's happiness took a big hit from her words. He looked down, feeling regret for having gone to the third. You idiot, I didn't do anything. Naruto must have. What? No way, Naruto wouldn't have. He did, Sakura. Kakashi said. She gazed at Naruto. You didn't even give it a second thought. You just automatically assumed that Sasuke was the one who did it for you. He said without looking at her. It thought you would have been still mad at me. Naruto, I really didn't. Save it. I could care less anyway. Kakashi-sensei, can we start the training, already? Don't you two want to keep talking? He said, his head buried in his book. You just want to keep reading. Naruto called. Kakashi sighed and put the book away. And it just got to the best part. He stood up and went in his back pocket. He held out 3 bells in front of him. This will be your first exercise. It will test your every aspect of ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and taijutsu. All you have to do is take the bells from me. But be warned, if you don't attack with the intent of killing me, you won't get a bell. You have until sundown to retrieve 1 bell. Oh yeah, and if you fail this, you will be kicked from the genin roster and immediately sent back to the academy. What? Naruto and Sakura yell. Sasuke just gasped. You can't be serious. Note serious glare. He said, pointing to his one visible eye, which seemed to be just as lazy as the white-haired Nin himself. Now begin. They all hesitated, not really knowing what to do. Kakashi sighed. You all want to go back to the academy? All at once they rushed forward. Then Naruto sees Sasuke doing hand signs and put his fingers to his mouth. Katon, Gakkaku no Jutsu. What? When did he learn that so fast? Kakashi thought as he jumped out the way of the giant fireball. Just when he landed, he saw someone on his opposite side. "Got you, Kakashi-sensei," Sakura called. As soon as she touched him, she felt herself being pulled away. "Huh! Naruto, what are you doing?" "I had him," she called, punching him. Then, Kakashi exploded. "That wasn't Kakashi-sensei," he said, rubbing his cheek. Sakura flushed of color. "That called V killed me." Sasuke landed next to them. He sighed and turned around, looking in every direction. "I don't see him anywhere, but I can still feel his chakra signature." "Naruto, how did you know that wasn't Kakashi-sensei?" "I saw Sasuke's jutsu and had waited for an opening. However, I saw Kakashi do a hand sign when he jumped away, so I thought it was a Kage Bunshin. I didn't know it would explode. It looks like he was serious about attacking with the intent of killing him." "Yeah, but if he created a clone, then where is the real him?" Sasuke said. Just then, two hands popped out of the ground and grabbed Naruto's ankles. "Ugh, what the?" He did a hand sign and expelled some chakra. The hands that held him exploded, making a big crater in the ground. From Kakashi's hiding spot, he glanced over his book at what had just happened. Smart. He used the same technique as me to create a Kage Bunshin right before mine exploded. I wonder if he can keep it up. Sakura and Sasuke look at the crater and Naruto pulls himself from the rubble. "Ah man, I didn't know I would end up underground." "Naruto, that was quick thinking. Now we have to find the real one." "I think I know how." Naruto put his hands together. This he began to focus all the chakra in his body into his eyes. The chakra began to spin inside his pupil, making it seem like his sapphire eyes were swirling. "What the hell is he doing?" Sasuke thought. Kakashi watched, feeling the concentration of chakra. Then he saw Naruto focusing chakra into his eyes. "What? That can't be, but how does he know that?" Did the third he felt his chakra leaving him and moved. "Deltagon," Naruto called as the chakra began to spin on its own finally. He cringed as everything became all chakra. However, as Naruto looked at Sasuke and Sakura, he saw not only their chakra points, but their spirits as well. "Sasuke," he whispered as he saw a black cloud inside the Uchiha. "What? Can you see him?" he asked. "Wait," he diverted his gaze from Sasuke and into the trees that surrounded the area. He saw Kakashi's soul and chakra points, both blue. Then the jutsu cut short, and he dropped to his knees, coughing up blood. "Naruto, are you okay?" Sakura asked. "Yeah, I'm fine. Kakashi-sensei is to the south, moving northwest." Sasuke nodded and flew into the trees. Sakura followed. Naruto took a moment to get his chakra back and to stop his coughing. He wondered if he should use the Deltagon so freely, seeing as it was making him bleed on the insides. It also left him open to attacks after he used it. He looked around trying to see if anyone was coming, then he felt a jab in his bottom. For a second all he could do was look at Kakashi, who held a kunai in his butt. Kakashi rose it, launching Naruto into the air while holding his backside. 1,000 years of pain, Kakashi said when Naruto began to scream and cuss. "Phoenix Flower Jutsu," Sasuke's voice called from behind Kakashi. Kakashi turned and did hand signs so fast that they scared Sasuke. "Phoenix Flower Jutsu," he called back. The small fireballs crashed into each other, but Kakashi's were stronger and slammed into Sasuke. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Kakashi didn't have time to retaliate as 20 Naruto's dog piled him. "Yeah. Igaha!" All the clones burst into smoke as Kakashi stood, holding a demon windmill shuriken. Naruto was on the ground right next to Kakashi. "Almost had me, Naruto, but that attempt could have been better." "I think it is better," he said as he made one more hand sign and exploded, sending Kakashi into the small lake. He stood up to see Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke standing on the edge of the water. "Well, that was clever. I wasn't expecting something like that from you. Actually, me and Sasuke thought it out before he went into the forest after you. The Phoenix Flower was just a distraction, just like this conversation." A Kakashi that stood behind the three said with a book in one hand and a kunai in the other. The Kakashi that was in the water turned into smoke. "Sure, mate," Naruto said as he felt the kunai against his neck. "Plan B," Sasuke said as he and Sakura ran in two different directions. Naruto dropped something, making Kakashi look down. When he did, Naruto darted away as fast as he could. He had dropped an exploding tag. Then a kunai hit it in the center, and exploded right in front of Kakashi. He had saw Sakura throw the kunai, and had time to move out the way. "Theory much better at this than I expected. I wonder if I'm pushing them too seriously." Sakura sat in a tree wondering what was going on. Everything had gotten quiet. Plan B was to split up, but now she wasn't so sure it was a good idea. She dropped from the tree she was in and began to quickly make her way through the forest. Then she heard a rustle in the bushes. She drew her kunai ready to attack at any moment. She gasped when she saw Sasuke come from behind a tree. He was bleeding bad and had several kunai and shurikens sticking out of his back. Sakura-chan, she gulped. After a moment of taking in the sight with an expressionless face, she dropped to her knees. Then she screamed, Sasuke Kunnn. Before passing out, the Sasuke disappeared. Kakashi turned and left, after finishing with the genjutsu he had put on Sakura. Well, that was easy. 1 down, 2 to go. However, right when he turned around, Sakura was there and grabbed a bell. What the? He looked down at the passed out Sakura, when the one that snatched a bell stuck out her tongue. The one on the ground turned into Naruto, and he stood up and darted away, after Sakura. Those little sneaks, that was brilliant. Naruto and Sakura jumped through bushes and landed in front of Sasuke. Your plan worked, Sasuke. Naruto exclaimed, seeing the smirk on his comrade's face. Of course it did. Look who you're dealing with, he replied. We couldn't have done it without your transformation, Naruto, Sakura said. Yeah, you've got some hell of a lot of chakra, I agree, Kakashi said above them. Damn it! Let's go, Sasuke calls. They all run in different directions again. Not this time. Kakashi threw 3 kunais in the directions of the 3. Each had an exploding tag attached to it. They hit trees in front of their respective person and exploded, blocking their paths. Sakura got scared, but instead of stopping she launched a punch right into the fallen tree, destroying it. That's some ing punch, Kakashi said and looked towards Sasuke. However, he had already burned the tree in his way and was continuing on. Naruto created a shadow clone and propelled himself above one. Without warning, all 3 directions exploded. Kakashi went wide-eyed. What? Are we being attacked? He darted toward where Sasuke was to see him laying in a bloody mess. He rushed over to him. Oh no! Sasuke! What happened? He called and looked around the area. He could feel several chakra signatures surrounding him. Then Sasuke grabbed a bell. Better luck next time, Kakashi-sensei, he taunted as he jumped away. What? The chakra signatures vanished into one as he finally realized it was Naruto and Kage Bunshin's. Alright, I'm starting to think these kids are friggin' geniuses. As he turned around, he saw Sakura throw shuriken at him. He deflected them with a kunai. However, while some of the shuriken were still in the air, he heard Naruto's voice. Kage shuriken no jutsu. The shuriken burst into 20 and rained down on Kakashi, cutting the last bell from his waist, and just as it was about to fall, Naruto darted at him and snatched it. Kakashi could only stare in awe. They had finished much faster than he had ever expected. The last move caught him off guard, because he was still shocked from the exploding Sasuke trick. He slowly began to clap as all 3 of his students came into view. This was your first exercise as a team, and that was marvelous. You 3 have exceeded my expectations. Especially you, Naruto. Well done, thank you, Kakashi-sensei. They all say. Now doesn't it feel good working together? See how much you all can accomplish. Now come on. I have lunches for you and then you are dismissed. They followed him back to the training ground. They all were smiling, feeling some sense of accomplishment from beating Kakashi at his own game. Once they were back at the training ground, Kakashi told them to sit down by 3 logs. Naruto sat by the middle one, Sasuke to his left, Sakura on his right. However, as soon as he sat down, ropes wrapped around his body and tied him to the log. Hey! What the hell? What's the deal, Kakashi-sensei? He whined while he struggled against the bonds. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Last one who gets a bell doesn't get to eat, and has to watch their teammates eat. Sorry, Naruto, he said as he handed Sasuke and Sakura lunches. Sorry? If you were sorry you'd let me eat, he cried, rumbling loudly. This is so unfair. Kakashi turned from them. I have something to do quickly. Don't leave, I'll be back. Oh, and don't feed Naruto or I'll immediately kick whosoever does off the squad, permanently. He shoo-shined away. Oh come on, Kakashi-sensei. Come back, you can't be serious. Can I at least have some ramen? He dropped his head, realizing it was futile to call anymore. Here, Sasuke said, holding out his chicken to Naruto. Sasuke-kun? What are you doing? You'll be kicked off the team if you help him, so? He won't find out if you don't tell him. Besides, Naruto's hungry, so why not? But she looked down at her own food. Are you sure, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Go ahead. I'm not hungry anyway, thanks. He called and sucked the lunch from Sasuke's hands in one gulp. Here, you can have mine too, Sakura said. Thanks, Sakura. He did the same thing. Then he belched. You know, the funny thing about this is that I was planning on going to Ichiraku's afterwards anyway. He chuckled. Naruto, you baka! Sakura scolded him. After leaving the 3 genin on the training ground, Kakashi made his way to Hokage Tower hastily. Once there, he disregarded the front door and went straight to the window to his office. Kakashi. Aren't you supposed to be with your team right now? He asked, sitting in his chair, apparently just awaking from a nap since all his papers were scattered over his desk. Yes, sir, and I wanted to ask something. What is it? It's about Naruto, sir. The third looked down sternly, and then sighed. Continue. Kakashi stood from the windowsill and walked over to a wall. While we were training today, Naruto used a technique. Which technique? The Deltagon. What? The third had stood up. So I take it you didn't know. No, Kakashi, I did not. However, this shouldn't surprise me. Lord Hokage, what's going on? The reason I wanted to ask about that technique is because I'm 100% sure it's a Kiki Genkei, a bloodline limit. The only other person that I've seen use that technique is the 4th Hokage, Naruto's father. Now it was Kakashi's turn to be shocked. He almost lost his balance and fell onto the floor. Lord Hokage, you mean to tell me that Naruto is the legendary Yandame's son? But how? Why would you keep this from us? Because, Kakashi, it was a promise. Even Naruto doesn't know. Then how does he know that technique? Sarutobi took a long puff from his pipe and sighed. A few days ago, Kakashi, on the same night that Naruto's apartment was destroyed, Mizuki was arrested. He was trying to steal the 4th's forbidden scroll. This scroll contains 10 jutsu that he had been developing, going from weakest to strongest. The scroll was forbidden because 8 of the 10 techniques could either cause massive damage or hurt the user. Mizuki had tried to get Naruto to steal the scroll for him, intending on taking the scroll and having Naruto to blame for it. The shrine where the scroll was had a protective jutsu placed on it. The only way for a person to receive the scroll would be by using the Deltagon to find a weak point, or by being Hokage. Naruto must have read the scroll. I don't know why I didn't realize it earlier. That's the only technique besides shadow clones that he used. I don't think he saw all of them, it seems. However, Kakashi, this information is to never leave this room, is that understood? I do not want to break my promise so soon. I will tell Naruto the truth, and give him the scroll when the time is right. I trust you will not tell anyone, not even Naruto, about this. Hi, sir. I won't tell. This explains so much, though. The resemblance between Naruto and Minato-sensei is uncanny. I think somewhere deep down, I always knew. The third nodded and dismissed Kakashi. Kakashi felt strange, as if the negativity that he felt about Naruto was gone. The 4th son was now his student. Oh, how fate played cruel tricks. Now, he felt horrible about what he thought about Naruto in general and vowed he would try to do things differently. Thanks for watching this video. You really enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow Violent Werewolf Dark Prince for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.